All right, everybody, welcome and thank you for joining me. It is once again a day. That means that we have a White House coronavirus press briefing. My approach today is going to be a little bit different to it, not because it is almost Passover, but because I just have some phone calls that I have to do a little bit later. So we're going to get to that momentarily, and I will tell you what the plan is for today. And it's just all going to be amazing. You know, that's really the takeaway, and we are very close to defeating the invisible scourge. Now back to reality. Let's look at the numbers as we have them today. Globally, we have hit 1.5 million official cases, and we are above 87,000 official deaths. Yesterday in the United States, we had 33,000 new cases and 1,970 deaths. Today, we have 22,000 new cases and already 1,600 new deaths. And of course, we still have many hours here, and those numbers very well could get worse. Updated numbers from the United States in total: 422,000 official cases. The real number is many, many more. Deaths are about to hit 15,000 either today or tomorrow. A growingly tragic number. New York and New Jersey representing about 200,000 of the 422,000 cases. Michigan now over 20,000. We have six states between 15 and 20,000 cases, and then a whole bunch more close to hitting 10,000 thus far. Updates from the model. Interestingly, the model was updated today. This is the IHME model, and it says we are now 4 days from the peak of daily deaths. That peak expected to be not 3,000 deaths in a day, but now down to 2,200. So this is an improvement in a sense. In terms of the total number of deaths, we've seen a 27% decline from yesterday to today. From about 82,000 yesterday, it was 93,000 the day before, down to 60,000. And of course, any reduction is good. Any reduction is good, and that is always what we want to see. And we will continue tracking those numbers on a daily basis and see what comes of them, and we will go from there. Welcome to everybody watching on YouTube. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. Joseph Dinzies says via Super Chat, Chaf Sameach. I think you mean Chag Sameach. David, hope you have a great Passover. All the love from a German Jew in Seattle. Take care of yourself in these crazy times. Ben Busink says, to me, the last episode of Better Call Saul felt like Breaking Bad. Will Biden ever provide the same feeling in relation to Obama? I don't know about that. I believe Bernie getting out today was the right decision, but I don't know if today was the right time. To me, it would have made a lot more sense 3 weeks ago, or it would make a lot more sense 3 or 4 weeks from now. To me, doing it in the middle of the peak of a global pandemic, the likes of which we've not seen for 100 years, seems to me like he's squandering political capital, where if the idea is to make a really big impact, make demands from Biden or, whatever, right? I mean, like, whatever it is, I feel like in 12 hours, people are already going to not be talking about Bernie dropping out anymore. And my sense is that having done it 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks from now would have maybe given him more effective use of political capital. But what the hell do I know? I'm not running campaigns. I'm just giving you my thoughts here. Other super chats. Townsend Coke says, David, Bernie supporters in NC, Florida, PA should definitely vote Biden, but what's wrong with people refusing to run up the score for Biden in Massachusetts or New York? Nothing. Everybody should do whatever they want. If people want to do that, go ahead. Let's see here. Stephen Kenneth Bennell, Destiny said Bernie's loss means progressive politics are unelectable. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know. People often misstate what people have said. Didn't see it. Can't possibly react to it. Zach Williams says, new member here. Thanks for being a great source. Thank you, Zach, for your support. Adam Waddington says, David, if you were given a chance to interview Trump, would you take it? Yes. And what would you ask him? I'd have to think about it. I would need some time to develop questions. Stephen Kenneth Bennell says that Kyle says Bernie should run into. I have no idea what Kyle's saying. I certainly can't take you at your word that that is what Kyle is saying, so I am unable to react to that. I apologize. Let me say thanks to Will L. Will L is new member number 11111 today at joinpacman.com. Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. Welcome if you were watching on Twitch. Twitch is a beautiful place to watch the streams. It's a perfect place, I would argue. Vision Outcast has grabbed the Twitch subscription, and Tiwate has subscribed with Prime. Very much appreciate that. Also, welcome to folks watching on Twitter as well as Facebook Live. Very, very much appreciate it. A few things to go through. Let me see here. Let's see what we've got. Let's first check if there's an update on the time today from Donald Trump. Trump says it will be at 5:30. Beautiful. That gives me a little more time with you fine folks. Okay, here's something. As many of you know, we famously coined the term, somebody in this, I don't take credit for it, the stream collectively coined the term data mail as a fight against beta mail, which is like a really dumb insult from Republicans. And we have had more and more requests for some kind of data female shirt. Now, of course, the whole data mail thing is a play on beta mail. So data female, let me back up. Seth, who developed the shirt, has offered incredibly generously to do a female version, which would be sort of like a slim fit, what's called a women's fit shirt. I'm just the messenger. Don't come after me. That's what it's called. But Seth wants to know, should it just be this same graphic, except it says female? Or is there some other phrase or image or something that would make more sense for the women's version of the shirt? So let me know. I think the best way would be maybe email me through my website, davidpacman.com. Use the contact form. Let me see if there are any obviously good suggestions. AI female, data lady. Fiscal female doesn't really make sense. Data femme. Oh, that's not bad. Data femme would be an interesting one. FEMME. AL female, not AI female. I don't know what AL female even means. Data babe. Data babe is interesting, although that could maybe be seen as bad under, I don't want to get in trouble. Scarf lady. No, it's got to be a data related concept. Data femme seems to be getting a lot of people titillated, I guess I would say. Anyway, email me. We will develop that. Seth has graciously offered to donate some additional design time to doing a women's version of the shirt. Okay, here is Donald Trump yesterday saying we're going to hold the money to the WHO. Minutes later, he's asked by a reporter, is that a good idea? He says, I never said it. Okay, this happens within minutes. Take a look.
World Health Organization, because they really are, they called it wrong. They called it wrong. They missed the call. They could have called it months earlier. They would have known. And they should have known. And they probably did know. So we'll be looking into that very carefully. And we're going to put a hold on money spent to the WHO.
So he just said, we're going to put a hold on the money spent.
Put a very powerful hold on it.
Very powerful hold. This is minutes later. Reporter asks if that's a good idea. He says, I never said that.
So is the time to freeze funding to the WHO during a pandemic?
No, maybe not. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but we're going to look at it.
You did say that.
We give a tremendous, no, I didn't. I said, we're going to look at it. We're going to investigate it. We're going to look at it.
Now, as you all know, you just watched it. He of course, didn't say that. Rather, he did say it. He didn't say we're going to look at it. He said we're putting a very powerful hold on the WHO money. And, did he forget? Is he having memory issues? Is he just a weaponized liar? We don't really know. Another very strange moment from yesterday. Here's Donald Trump claiming that Ivanka created 15 million jobs. Take a listen to this.
My daughter Ivanka Trump, who just wants to have people working. That's what I gave her, lots of options. And what do you like? And She created over 15 million jobs, working with some of you, but working with the biggest companies in the world. They were training like nobody's ever seen, but she started off with a goal of 500,000 jobs, and now she's up to over 15 million.
Okay. So again, do you guys think Trump believes that when he says it? I'll give you a few hints. Number one, the total number of people working before coronavirus was 158 million. That means if Ivanka created 15 million jobs, forget about whether she did or whether she does anything. If Ivanka created 15 million jobs, that means that Ivanka Trump created 10% of all U.S. jobs. Furthermore, the Trump administration has created only 6.2 million jobs. So how could she possibly have created 15 million jobs? Now, maybe she created some of these in other countries by, hiring sweatshop workers in China or something to make her clothing, but that wouldn't be 8 million additional jobs. So does Trump know that this is mathematically impossible aside from being ludicrous conceptually? Or does he not know? Is he confused? I have no idea. You let me know what you believe about that. A few other super chats are coming in. Welcome, by the way, if you're joining us, Donald Trump's press conference scheduled for the bottom of the hour. Let's see here. Oh, and let me get back over. We're keeping an eye on if, by the way, if any feed goes live in the room, let me know and I will put up that feed. We always prefer to be in the room rather than out of it, I guess I would say. Okay, super chats are coming in. Let's see what is on your mind today. Mr. Lieutenant Pink says, thanks for the company during the lockdown. My pleasure. Brandy Hamdan has grabbed a YouTube membership. RC from the NYC says, I think many states watched what happened with the indirect voter suppression in Wisconsin. Should the Democratic National Convention be canceled? I don't have it. I really don't know. I leave it to the experts. It seems that holding it as scheduled and in person right now is not the right idea, but I leave it to the experts to determine that. Ray HLD says, do you think Joe Biden has a chance of beating Trump? Yes, I do. I do. Jay Applegate says, can you tell us what it would take for you to agree to shave your whole head or just the top? Listen, if I shave my head, I'm shaving the whole thing, right? I'm not going to shave just the top and leave the stuff on the sides. That would be insane. I don't know what it would take. Let me put it this way. I'd know it if I saw it, and I've not seen it so far. Let's leave it at that for the time being. Michael says, why is America at 400,000 cases and everybody else at 120,000 or less? Freedom can't explain it. Many countries have more democracy index than us, and some don't even have 10,000. Yeah, it's called incompetent leadership. Incompetent leadership and being too slow. That's about it. Lee Douglas says, please make the lady shirt available in plus sizes. We'll see. We don't have much control over the available sizes, I will tell you. Foo Rocker says, have you heard of Trump super fanboy anomaly or anomaly? I have not. Michaela McGonigal says, lost my grandmother to the virus today. I am so sorry to hear that, Michaela. My condolences. Please, please stay home, sleep well, and in peace, my sweet grandma. So tragic. Every day, someone on my stream has lost somebody. Every single day. It is very real and tragic. And I'm so sorry to hear that, Michaela. Really, really sorry. We are standing by for Donald Trump and the White House coronavirus press briefing. So today we're handling it a little bit differently. Yesterday, I did the Trump part and then I had to go. Today, we're doing something else. I have 3 different calls I have to make today. So I'll be with you until Trump starts. When Trump starts, I'm going to step away. The stream will keep going. Nobody's got to get scared. It's going to be fine. I'm going to step away and do these phone calls. And then I will be back for when medical experts speak and for when the questions start. Okay, so that's the plan for today. Thomas W says 2020 battle of the septuagenarian yogurt brains. Inconsolable says a bizarre and absurd narrative that's gaining traction in your subreddit is the idea that Trump is going to institute Medicare for all in response to COVID, as some people call it, making him a better choice than Biden. Can you please debunk? There is zero chance in hell that Donald Trump does that, and it's just ridiculous. John Larry says, how about Data Chick? I don't know if people like that idea. We're looking for a female alternative to the Data Mail t-shirt, which our friend Seth has agreed to design. I don't know if Data Chick is the way to go, but I'll keep taking suggestions. Ninja Tribble says, I've heard Sam Cedar said that Kyle told him Destiny thinks you are secretly an alpha male. Can you please comment? No, I cannot. Thanks, Ninja. Stephen Kenneth says, should Bernie run in 2024? You didn't answer the question. Very annoying. No, he should not. He's going to be like 82 at that point, right? I mean, no, he shouldn't. That's it. He shouldn't run. Also, why did you block various channels of mine? I have never lied or done anything wrong. What are your thoughts? I don't know. You'd have to ask. I think our moderators banned you, or I don't know. These are not paramount issues of importance right now. Matt Chavez says, Rogan has a video up explaining Trump over Biden. Yes, we'll address tomorrow. Christopher Correa says, Rogan gave you a shout out on today's podcast. I didn't see that. I would love, if anybody has, let's check that out together. If somebody, I saw he interviewed Lex Friedman today. If somebody can give me the time code of the Rogan shout out today, I will put it up on the screen. At this point, I don't think it's a secret that I'm scheduled to be on with Joe soon. And I just don't know if it's going to happen because of, the virus, quite frankly. But I would love to. I have not seen today's episode yet. So if somebody can give me a time code, then I would love it. And we can look at it together in real time. Sharaka Berry says, I was Wisconsin poll worker, didn't show up because none of the workers were tested. Probably smart. Peyton Pellin says, you could rock a proper undercut, just saying. I don't know what that is. I don't know what an undercut is, to be perfectly frank. Of course, if I do a podcast with Rogan soon, I would talk about his view on the Trump-Biden thing. Of course I would. There is no doubt about it. Okay, let's see here. Does anybody know if there is any stream that is in the room live right now? I would gladly switch to that so we can see sort of the process as it's going. And if somebody can get me the time code for the Rogan shout out today, I would gladly look at both of those. But I am not seeing either so far. Washington Post doesn't seem to have anything happening live in the room right now. People talking about Tulsi still. Yeah, I don't know anything about Tulsi at this point. Washington Post is not live in the room. Okay, maybe nobody is live in the room right now. Maybe that's it. No? All right, well, listen, if anybody goes live, please let me know. Wait, maybe Time is live. Let's take a look here. No, I'm just not seeing it. Okay, anyway, keep me posted, and we will do we will do everything that we need to do. All right, very, very good. And get me, yes, I see people saying, where is the Rogan video? If someone gives me I think he did 3 hours today with Lex Friedman. I can't do 3 hours of looking through it. But if someone tells me where in today's Rogan podcast he mentions me, we will go to the shout out, and we will do it very, very quickly, and we will do it very, very strongly. Okay, here's something fun. All right, let's just take a brief break from bad things. Yesterday, I agreed to take a proper hairbrush and just see how my hair would react to it. And I did it yesterday, and producer Noah has isolated some of the most compelling moments of me doing that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste a link in Twitch and YouTube right now to a series of GIFs, okay? Please turn these into memes and send them to me, okay? We are going to be promoting, we want to do something fun. We'll be promoting these all over the place. Turn these into things, edit them, do, whatever people who know what to do with them can do. Here's another one. And some of these are really, really compelling. My hair reacting in very strange ways to what I did yesterday. This was the comb forward, as you can see here. I started going forward really aggressively, and it got kind of weird. Here I went into the full kind of like Beatles look, and it became really difficult to host the stream when this one was going on. Then I kind of shook it out, and it became kind of Bieber-like in a strange way. So all of these images, all of these animated images are available to you. I just pasted the link a bunch of times. There's that. And then I went back. Back, I felt good. It just was really good to get all the hair out of my face. It went back, and that was beautiful. And then we kept going back. I puffed up the sides a little bit. And then I kind of did a forward, really just kind of smacking at my hair forward a little bit. That worked. And then this was a really weird emo moment this was the most emo moment from yesterday's stream, as you can see. And that got really, really weird. So one more time, I'm pasting links on Twitch and YouTube to all of these animated images. I have a lot of confidence that people are going to come up with some really, really creative stuff for us that then they are going to send to me. If you're just joining us, we are just about a half hour from the start of today's coronavirus task force press briefing. It was originally scheduled for 5, and it has been rescheduled for the bottom of the hour, according to Donald Trump's Twitter chat. We do have racism, very, very aggressive racism happening in Twitch chat. So we are banning people. I'm just dropping the ban hammer very aggressively, and people are being brutalized by the ban hammer right now. Moderators, remember, we do not allow that kind of overt racism, and being coy about misspelling the N-word is not going to fly, my friends. It's not going to fly. Let me say thank you to Ben Hochberg. Ben Hochberg is new member number 2 today at joinpacman.com. Very much appreciate that. Super chats continue to come in. Let's see here. Nick Piper says, what's with all the Epoch Times ads? Do they think targeting your audience is good marketing? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people tell me that they are running a lot of ads on my channel. It sounds like a waste of money to me. I don't know. Bulkier Writer says, I love Bernie but hate his supporters. David Adams says, what about Data Queen as an alternative to the Data Mail t-shirt? Data Queen is an idea. That's not a bad idea. I could see going for that. Diana Bridget says, just renewed membership. I vote for Data Lady. Data Lady is not a bad one either. I'm just making a note of some of these different ideas that people are mentioning. Very good. Moyle Larby says, Jimmy Neutron hair, nice. Thank you. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. I'm not going to lie, but I'm doing what I can. Oh, it does look like Fox News is in the room, so maybe I'll switch over to that momentarily. That is a little risky, though. You know, Fox News at any time might look at dropping a ban hammer on me, which we definitely don't want. Anna Burgos says 2848. Okay, let's do the Rogan thing. Lex Friedman, Joe Rogan, April 8. Let's see. I believe this is today. All right, let's look at this together. I've not seen this before. I am told that Joe Rogan mentions me today at 2848. Let's see what happens here.
People know. First of all, folks, I'm barely paying attention. Okay? If you're getting your political advice from me, I'm a moron. Okay? I am a comedian / cage fighting commentator. You know how you have friends that don't know much about fighting, and they'll say something like, I think Bruce Lee could kick John Jones' ass. Yeah, that's me with politics. Okay? Don't listen to me for political advice. You want to listen to people for political advice? Listen to people that are actually paying attention. Listen to guys who, that's their living. Guys like Kyle Kalinske. Listen to Jimmy Dore. He does a fantastic job breaking down politics. He understands it, right? Listen to the people that, The Hill. Watch that show. It's fantastic. It's on YouTube. There's a lot of people. David Pakman. He understands politics.
Wow.
I'm not that guy, okay?
Wow.
But what I am saying is I don't want to vote for someone that has a mental problem.
Okay. Well, listen, Joe and I are scheduled to have a chat soon. I don't know if and when it'll happen, but I will talk to him about all of this Biden stuff. We're going to, I am sure Joe then will allow me to discuss that in a lot of detail with him, and I look forward to doing that. Paul JM says the Data Mail T-shirt is pretty phallic. Is it really? This doesn't seem phallic to me. Is data phallic? Is a graph phallic now? That I don't know that I buy that, guys. I'm not sure I'm on that train. Philip Angst says, "Hello, David. Love your show. What is going on in Nevada or Nevada? Let's see. Is there? Where is that? Where is Nevada? Nevada. 129 cases. I don't know. What is going on there? 2,200. I'm not. Is there? Has that number changed? Let me see. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. In like an hour, 22,000 new cases in a single day. That is incredible. Wow. I was supposed to go to Vegas in 2 weeks. I'm glad that conference got canceled. That is absolutely insane. I don't know the backstory there. I have no idea. If anybody knows what's going on in Nevada with the numbers, by all means, let me know. But that is stunning. 22,000 cases in a single day in Nevada. Still very few deaths, presumably because these are relatively new cases, which have not, I guess, like kind of the politically correct term is to say these are not cases that have resolved yet. But that is shocking number out of Nevada. Crazy. Brian Somerville sends a super chat. Bulkier writer says, never Biden people would rather throw marginalized people under the bus instead of voting for Joe and protesting his administration from day one. Danny Bowman is a soy boy now. Matt's like Matt's Willander says, do you think Bernie fans will vote for Trump again? A fraction of them will. I'm going to have a big piece about that tomorrow. So let me not preempt my own commentary, but I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow on the program. Okay, I'm going to do my one pitch. The last 3 streams, I have attempted to only do one attempt to sell you on membership, and it has gone better than ever. So the better it does, the less I will mention it. Okay, so I'm going to mention this one time now. Okay, we're mostly funded by memberships. So there's YouTube Super Chat, YouTube ad revenue, Twitch subscriptions, all this stuff. The companies take a big slice every time we get $1 through those platforms. YouTube, Twitch, everybody takes a big slice, okay? That's why we have our own system at joinpacman.com. When you sign up there, we pay 2.9% to swipe credit cards, and we keep the rest, 97.1%, okay? Because of the virus, we're all in it together. We're all struggling together. In March, 389 of our website members canceled their memberships. We've never had that many people cancel in 1 month before. I don't blame a single person for it. I get what's going on. Unemployment is exploding. We all get it, all right? 389 people canceled. YouTube revenue down 35%. So my ask is, I don't want your last dollar. I don't want your last $2. If you are in the umbrella of people that can afford $2 a month, consider grabbing a subscription at joinpacman.com. We've got a goal of 25 website members. During some of these streams, we've gotten 50, even close to 75 people signing up sometimes. If you apply the coupon code 2020 now, you will save 66%. You don't have to take the coupon. If you can pay full price, do it. We had somebody yesterday get a $500 membership during the stream. It was amazingly generous. But if you can afford just $2 a month, that coupon code will make your membership $2 a month or 20 for the year, which is like $1.83 a month. Okay. That's my ask. Everybody who signs up, I will thank. You are all amazing people, whether or not you sign up. The streams are for everybody. It's not just for paid subscribers, but that is my one ask. And I will make sure that everybody who signs up today during the stream gets a very, very sincere and beautiful thank you. Okay, Twitch messages that I want to read. Badusai Dido has subscribed on Twitch and says, keep up the good work, Mr. Pacman. Thank you. Rocco's Modern Life has subscribed on Twitch and says, love the show, David. Very powerful 2-month Prime subscription. Yes, and thank you. Sertius Chorus has gifted 5 subscriptions on Twitch. Goku has subscribed for 3 months. And Beryllium Poisoning has subscribed with Prime. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you. I very much appreciate that. Okay. Josh Allen has subscribed on YouTube. Danny Thompson says t-shirt idea. David Pakman fan club with your DP logo. I'd get one right away. Also, do like and subscribe the stream and like on every one of your YouTube and Facebook videos. I do. Thanks, Danny. I really do appreciate that. Very much appreciate your support. Christopher Correa says Joe Rogan. Oh, the timestamp. Thank you. We already did get to that. Appreciate it. Daniel Rivera says, is it easier or harder for Trump to win this time? I think it's a huge question mark because of the X factor that is coronavirus. I think we have no idea how November is going to shake out yet. We may be in the midst of the second wave of the virus. The economy may have heavily recovered. It may not have. I think we just don't know yet. It's too early to say. Helen Alderson says, how about facts and figures with a silhouette? You know, that's an interesting idea. We're looking for like a female version of the Data Mail shirt. What Helen is suggesting is facts and figures with the female silhouette. I think that that is very interesting, but I worry that it could be seen as misogynistic and it could get us in some trouble. I mean, it's unfortunate that I have to even think in those terms, but I think it's possible that it could get us into some trouble. And so, you know, it's a question mark, but it's a very creative idea. Very creative idea. Adam Fresh Design says, why not just date a girl? Yeah, that's a possibility for sure. Lauren Tweedale sends a super chat. Daniel Ryan suggests Data Diva. Sorry, where'd that go? Data Diva. Lauren Tweedale says, how about data female with the F and E as data points? Okay, Seth, I hope Seth is on the stream and taking notes about all of these different ideas that folks are helping us to workshop. Imir becomes a YouTube member. Joshua Hasty says, David, release the Children of the Lie shirt. Oh, that's another shirt idea. Okay, another shirt idea would be Jesse Lee Peterson, this black conservative who has interviewed me before. He calls people on the left, I guess, Children of the Lie. It would be cool to do a t-shirt called Children of the Lie with caricatures of me, Stephen Kenneth Destiny Bennell II, Sam Cedar, and Anthony Mellon Fantano. I think that would be really good. And that would be another t-shirt possibility. I don't know, just something to think about. Another possibility. Okay. And just speaking of which, let me see if I can find Jesse Lee Peterson, just because we have time. David Pakman. Let me see if I can find this hilarious song that was done. Okay, here it is. So check this out. This is like some of the backstory on all of this data mail stuff, just so people get a sense of
We are? Huh? Sluts. It's so amazing. The sluts. It's so amazing. Incredible. You like sluts? I'm sorry? You like sluts? A slut. Have you ever slept with a slut? Would you date a slut? You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question.
That's the answer.
But I'm
You don't
asking-
like the answer.
You don't understand the question?
I think I understand it.
What is it about the question that's difficult for you?
Are these really the most important topics for you?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm not sure.
So all of a sudden you're dumb.
No, I really don't.
No, I don't believe it.
Okay.
I won't accept it, Paul. You do know, but you won't say. Amazing. Oh, do you know what a slut is when you see one?
No.
Beta male. Beta male.
Anyway, okay, I think people kind of get the gist for what we're dealing with Jesse Lee Peterson. So that obviously that is not as it really happened. That's an edit. That's an edit meant to be comical. Let me put it that way. Okay, let me say a few new member thank yous before things get completely out of control. Chris Lempa is new member number 3 today at joinpacman.com. Ryan Rivas is new member number 4 at joinpacman.com. Min Chol Zhang is new member number 5 today at joinpacman.com. Thanks, Min. Also want to say thank you to Meredith Cop. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies in advance. Sean Wolfinger is new member number 7 today. Jared Bish is new member number 8 today. Thanks, Jared. Kurt Stringfield is new member number 9. John Barzinski is new member number 10 today. Reggie Cooper is new member number 11. Nazli Malik is new member number 12. Marshall Simmons is new member number 13 today. I want to say thanks to Joshua Pope, who is new member number 14. Christopher Vigil is new member number 15. Thanks, Christopher. Adam Schlomer is new member number 16. Stuart Robertson is new member number 17. And Dorian Esser is new member number 18 today. I will make sure everybody gets a thank you. Everybody gets a thank you, as always. Very, very important stuff. Okay, other super chats coming in. Thanks to David Fields and Music Man for the subscriptions. Incredibo TV says, smash that like button, people. Yes, if you were watching on YouTube, remember, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And I suggest a big wind up when you do that. You got to do the big wind up on like and subscribe. Very, very useful. Bob Ruggio has subscribed at the soy boy level, as has Ryan McQueenie. William Volrath says, just because. Mike Murphy has subscribed. Anna Burgo says, what's the name of the clip that you mentioned? Your thoughts on New York City after COVID and people leaving the congestion and fears of the second wave. You know, I'm not sure, Anna. I don't know. And I don't even know if it was on the broadcast show or the bonus show. I apologize. I have a hard time myself finding some of my old clips. Thanks to Rob Copy and Joseph Anderson, as well as Ban Parlos and Chakwi Pitchford. Vazil Vanda says, watching for about 6 months. Thanks for all your work. Thank you, Vazil. Ronnie Silva sends a super chat. Whoa, where'd that go? Ray Rivera says, great job. Te vemos todos los días. We watch you every day. That's translation from Spanish, my friends. Vicky Chance has signed up. I Mir says, factual female. You know, that's an interesting one. It could be the same image as this, but it could say factual female. That might work. That actually might work, and it wouldn't offend anybody. Never want to offend anybody with our gear. Here's our favorite Bloomberg reporter entering the room. Always good to see him. Skunk Game says, David, I think Nevada is an anomaly. Total cases more than total tests. Is that an error? Yeah, I really have no idea. We just noticed that. Let's refresh and see if it's still there. And it's gone. I think it was just a mistake. For a few minutes, there were 22,000 new cases in Nevada today, and now it's back down to 376. It didn't make sense. It didn't pass the sniff test. And it appears at least that it was just a glitch. At least that's what it seems like right now. Whoa. Okay. Christine says, do you trust our votes will even be counted honestly? This administration is so powerful and corrupt. I'm losing faith that it isn't all for nothing. I have also lost some faith that our votes will be counted. And I think vote by mail, Trump says vote by mail is bad and corrupt. I think vote by mail is good and we should do it for a number of different reasons, which I outline in a clip today that we'll be publishing a little bit later. Let me say a few Twitch thank yous. Let's see here. Squid Pro Yo has subscribed with Prime. Incubus and Hikudos, as well as Savarga, have all subscribed on Twitch. Janable has subscribed. Daniel84 has subscribed. Reggie Nerd and Robot Eyes have subscribed. So has Jeff 1014. Black Mikey Dranoa Shane with the message pandemic rights, Morbis MIA, Ketsy, and Hot Steve have all subscribed at twitch.tv/David Pakman. Okay, let me do a few other thank yous. I don't want to fall too far behind on website membership thank yous. I already thanked Dorian, so let me now say thanks to Jason Seaton. Jason Seaton is new member number 19. Magnus Veaton is new member number 20. Emily Ilson, thanks Emily, new member number 21. Charlie Carr is new member number 22 today. Margaret Williams coming in at number 23. Parker Hrutzel, I hope I didn't butcher that, is new member number 24. Jonathan Overbay is new member number 25. Let's go for 50. And number 26 is Zeno Pescosta. Zeno Pescosta is number 26. Today's press briefing has been rescheduled for the bottom of the hour. We are just moments from that time. We have the microphone holder for press questions in the room. That's a sign we're probably getting closer to the start. We are live on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Just as a reminder, I have a couple conference calls in a bit. So when Trump starts, I'm going to go black. I'm going to black out my video. I'm going to have a couple phone calls. I will be back for when the doctors speak and when there are questions. Yesterday, we reversed it. And today, I will be back for the nasty questions and for the reporters who should be ashamed of themselves and for actual doctors who are going to be speaking to us. Waller is me suggests femme detale. That's an interesting idea. Ashton Graves says, what book has most influenced your political views? You know, I really couldn't say. I don't read that much. The only real political books I read are like theory. I don't read any of like the, this politician. Like I don't read the Obama memoir. I don't read books by pundits. I tend to read economics, theory, history, and I couldn't really name one book that has been particularly large influence. Vaprex has grabbed a beta level YouTube subscription. Wesley Griffin says the lack of response by the Trump administration to Corona should have been the nail in the coffin for re-election, in my humble opinion. It should have been, and it may not be. And that's what's so scary about it. Christine says, David, I watched the Jesse Peterson interview the other day. I appreciate your approach, and I believe you were masterful in handling it. You are right. Future students will study it. Let me see if I can actually find that moment. That was like an indirect dig at Jesse Lee Peterson, and I don't know that he got it. Jesse Lee Peterson, David Pakman. Let me see here. Here it is. I can find that easily because it's right at the end. Let's take a look. Okay, a lot of people have been waiting for this one. Let me go right to the end here. Let's take a listen.
And so she's trying to take the shame out of being called a slut for women. And so we videotaped that, and that is coming out next Thursday. It's so amazing. The sluts. It's so amazing.
Incredible.
You like sluts?
I'm sorry?
You like sluts?
I don't know any.
Have you ever slept with a slut?
I don't think so.
Would you date a slut?
It's a pejorative. It's not a term I use.
Amazing. My final question. Oh, do you know what a slut is when you see one?
No.
Well, make sure you watch the Slut Walk on the Fall Estate.
Thank you.
My final question. Did you have fun?
No.
You did not?
No, listen, I think that this is, in 1,000 years, when the sociologists and the philosophers try to figure out what exactly happened in the United States right around this time, this type of conversation is going to be incredibly informative for them. So I'm glad to have participated in it.
Good, man. They're going to think, wow, Jesse was amazing. And the intellectual guy, nice. You're a nice guy. David, thank you for coming, man.
Thank you for having me.
I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And thank
So anyway, yeah, I think it's sort of like went over his head, or maybe he just pretended. I mean, he's not, sometimes I don't think he's playing a character, but that is the real Jesse. Like behind the scenes, that was the same Jesse. So I don't know, maybe it didn't go over his head. Maybe it did. I don't really know. But in any case, that was my appearance with Jesse Lee Peterson. And if I'm back in LA, I would love to do it again. It would be really a pleasure. Okay, let me say thank you to some really special people. Benio and Mishka Berger. That is a family name of mine. Berger, Berger. Yes, you guys are new members at joinpacman.com. John Bakhtali. Now I think I've recognized that name. I think John maybe was a member at one point already. Is new member number 28. Janelle Manning is new member number 29. Holden Vitetto is new member number 30 today. Richard B. Lewis. I'm guessing it's like that guy Howard K. Stern, who uses the middle initial to distinguish himself from Howard Stern. Richard B. Lewis is number 31, not the comedian Richard Lewis. Jim Welniak is number 32 today. Keenan Miller. Keenan is new member number 33. Beautiful. Gareth Owen is new member number 34. David Sanborn is new member number 35. And Rhonda Fiandaka is new member number 36 today. Rhonda, thank you. Thank you. Very much appreciate it. We should be just minutes from the start of today's press conference. I will be stepping away momentarily when it starts because I have a few phone calls while Trump speaks. Wow, that guy was wearing like a full face mask. Wow, that's really covering everything. Then I will be back for doctors' comments and questions in a little bit. Colligan Crafts has grabbed a membership. Per Tiran says, you look like a manga character with the hair wild. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I might do a haircut soon myself. We'll see. I don't know. It's starting to become a distraction, quite frankly. And so I may need to do something just to, calm everybody down. Waffles Giraffles said, JLP said it, data slut. Would you date a slut? Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. John Kelly has signed up on YouTube. Heard about it, says, do you know why the Nevada case count skyrocketed? It was a glitch. It's been fixed. We fixed the glitch, to quote Office Space, the movie. Chalkwy Pitchford says, youngest candidate for office in Southwest Michigan, doing great and will win the primary. Thank you for being an inspiration. Okay, I'm not aware of this. Thank you. Beetle Greg says, David, what's your favorite song? I don't have one favorite song. How could I possibly pick one favorite song? Mike says, the hair is as glorious as always. Keep this look. Alvaro Bazan says, my mate who voted for Trump was going to vote Bernie. How crucial are the Supreme Court seats we may lose for our progressive movement if 45 is reelected? Huge, huge. Biden getting to choose a Supreme Court justice instead of Trump will have an impact for decades on the very fabric of our country. You might not care, but there is no denying that that is the reality. Let me say thanks to Charioshi for the support over on Twitch. I appreciate that. We seem to be very close to the start of today's press conference. Dylan Kobe says, Kenneth Stephen Destiny Bennell II got combed in this debate. Bonus meme, poo poo piker, Pepe laugh. Yeah, I don't really know anything about that. There is a really funny, there's like a compilation of my, how would I even find this? Let me see, David Pakman, Twitch, meme compilation. There's such a funny video someone made. I can't find it. If someone can tell me how to find this like 2-minute compilation somebody made of me like pretending not to know any of the references in online culture, which is all a joke, by the way. These are all exaggerations that I'm doing just to have fun. Damn, I wish I knew how to find it. Supposedly Fun is trying to send it, but links are blocked. If someone can describe how to find it, that would be better. Yeah, I don't know how to find that. People are sending the link, but that's blocked. The most likable boomer on Twitch. That's it. The most likable boomer on Twitch. There it is. Beautiful. Okay, check this out. This was really pretty expertly done. Take a look at this. And I actually have made an account, and I am going to do a premiere stream on Twitch sometime soon. Let me say thanks to some folks signing up with Twitch Prime. Young Matu, Punished Mouton. Have I turned down the 4-watt settings in OBS to get rid of stream delay?
Dear God.
No, I haven't. And I will be raiding Pokimane when I am done because she follows me on Twitter. Thank you to... See, this is where Twitch is very different than YouTube. On YouTube, it's like I'm getting super chats from Kevin. I'm getting one from Nolan. On Twitch, I just had someone called I Spank My Monkey Every Night subscribe with Twitch Prime.
Right.
By popular demand, I
Dear
will
God.
be rating your stream when I'm done with mine
Oh,
at
man.
the top of the hour. Peace and love, to quote the great Ringo Starr. The Kardashians are lying to you. I don't even know what they're saying. If somebody can explain to me exactly what I would do on here, please tell me. But I don't. Let me just listen to a little bit of what's going on. I don't even get what this is.
I kind of want to force them.
I rarely have 5,000 viewers with whom I could raid anybody. Now I'm wondering, I've been angling to at some point be raided by Pokimane, and I actually may have the goods this evening. I guess not, people. Apparently that's an incredibly offensive comment to make. I don't know. Poo-poo hiker Pepe laugh. Can someone tell me what Monka S means? Like, what on earth does that mean? I have no clue what people are talking about. I hope it's not something horribly racist.
Your raid for 376 viewers. Thank you so much. I follow.
All right. Anyway, I think you guys get the idea. So I really appreciate people who put that together. That takes a lot of scouring and, looking at a lot of different elements of my streams and stuff like that. So very, very, very much appreciate it. Okay. A few other thank yous. I want to thank Donna Looney, who is new member number 37 at joinpacman.com. Timothy Stone is new member number 38. Devin Ortega is new member number 39 today. James Pfeiffer is new member number 40. And Andy Wilcox, new member number 41 at joinpacman.com. Anthony, thank you, my friend. Andy, not Anthony. Thank you so much, my friend. Very much appreciate the support. Oh, okay. I guess people just want to see the last few seconds of this. That's fine.
And like,
Her heart rate going up while she says this. Anybody notice that? When she started talking about me, she was at 73. And by the end of this, her pulse is elevated. Is that a goof or is that for real? Is anybody else noticing that?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming aboard the show, one of the most sought-after guests, Mr. David Pakman.
What's my take on John Zerka getting 500,000 views overnight? Yeah, I have no clue what this is. And it doesn't sound super interesting.
Give it up for your winner, David Pakman. Congratulations! You have won the Raj Royale podcast. Woo!
Mentioning me literally elevated her pulse about 15%. That's interesting. I am now going to be streaming under the handle David Kenneth Destiny Bennell II.
God.
Man, that is just legendary, right? So that is truly, truly stunning. And what an event. I did win the Raj Royale. I won. I defeated a gentleman named Airsoft Fatty, who is, I believe, so I'm actually going to be serious about this, okay? I'm not kidding about this. I was unfamiliar with Airsoft Fatty before I appeared on that program. I believe now Airsoft Fatty is one of the premier, foremost entertainers of our time. And I encourage everybody to check out this gentleman's channel. It is truly comedic genius. I mean, it's really comedic genius and truly one of the top, I would argue, maybe the entertainer of the decade, potentially, Airsoft. Okay, Robert Archer says something hairstyle. Love you, David. Yes. Corey has become a soy boy. Mascot says, do you think the public at large has given up on news and politics? Seems like a small percent are listening at all. I would say the opposite. Our YouTube channel and Facebook page have been going logarithmic during the last 6 weeks. Now, it could be just because people are home, But there is every indication people are very much engaged, very, very much engaged with with politics and news at this point in time. Costel Iliescu says, thank you for all of your work. Please check out Dysfunctional Mariac 308 album, free on YouTube. Best quarantine album on the planet. Okay. I will take that under advisement. Lisa Kleinwart says, just a little something in the pot again to say thank you for doing this. It would be torture to get through these without you. Thanks, Lisa. Micah Gelfand. Oh, Micah, Chag Sameach, if I am not being presumptuous. Biden has only 8 allegations of harassment versus Trump's 20. I'm glad to have the choice of 2 creeps to vote for. Thanks, DNC and MSNBC. Samantha Sabatino says, I'm here for the nasty questions. You and me both, Samantha. Chris M., you might be interested in the book Architecture of a Techno-Democracy, investigates using blockchain tech to enable a more fair democratic process. Interesting. Donna Williams says, wear a hat. Thank you for your hard work. Appreciate you. You know, I'm not really a hat guy. Actually, the only hat, I think I have a hat right here. This is the only type of hat that I really have. And I don't know that this would really help. I know this is a risk putting this thing on. What do we think? Actually, this is like Tim Pool's beanie in a way. I'm like Tim Pool now. This is kind of interesting. Anyway, this is the only sort of thing I could really do. But, man, it's almost uncomfortable with all of my hair underneath it. Let me see if I can fix it. This is cool, right? This is like emo Pac-Man or something like that. I'm in the band Simple Plan, guys. Check me out. Or I'm a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. It's weird. I don't know how people wear this stuff. This isn't good. It's not good. I think if anything, I would wear like a Red Sox hat or something like that. Hold on. Now, the other thing is I could also just extend. This is the only other possibility. But it's weird. It's a little bit phallic. I don't think it's appropriate. There are children on the stream. I'm not going to do it. Okay. The other possibility, by the way, would just be wearing a scarf the entire stream. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah. This is actually, I think, better for me. Okay. Let's continue here. Let's say a few other thank yous. I want to say thanks to... No, there's nobody else to say thank you to. Oh, my goodness. All right. I won't thank anybody. Okay. John Espinoza says a little something for the coffee can or... Oh, what am I doing? We're still waiting for... There we go. A little something for the coffee can or petty cash fund over at the David Pakman Show. Thanks for all you do, David. Bryson Bernard says, my dad thinks you have Trump derangement syndrome. What are your thoughts? Trump derangement syndrome is a phrase used to shield Donald Trump from criticism and essentially to just attack people. And I don't even engage. On Twitter, if somebody sends me a tweet with Trump derangement syndrome, I instantly mute them. I don't think they're worth engaging with. Andrew Morgan says just JPL is a slot for old right-wing money. Okay. Mona J.E. Kobus says, welcome, is a new soy boy. Jack says, any thoughts on Bernie supporters jumping ship to Trump over mental degradation concerns when Trump obviously has mental decline already? Yeah, I do have thoughts about that, and I'll probably include that tomorrow in my segment about Bernie. Amadou Isaac says, Data Dame. That's an idea. The female version of the Data Mail shirt could be Data Dame. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I think that there's definitely something there. Keaton Klepper says, Dave, can you handle the triplets in Good Times, Bad Times, the Led Zeppelin song? I can. If I have the right drum pedal, which I prefer a DW. I don't remember if I have a 5000 series or a 7000. With the right pedal and the right pedal tuning, I can absolutely handle the triplets in Good Times, Bad Times. Amy Ashworth says, Data Lass. Stand Up and Fight Back sends a super chat. Giant Robat says, hi, David. My girlfriend is a socialist, gender-critical feminist. I call her Surf and Turf. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Micah Gelfand says, thanks for the work you do and helping us keep sane during these crazy times. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Millennial Cooking Dinner says, you look Canadian now. Thank you. Ron says, assuming it's a compliment, do you think it's the DNC and mainstream media's fault that Bernie lost the primary? No, I don't. Bernie lost the primary brutally. It's like a 2.5 million vote deficit between him and Joe Biden. And that's a very simplistic argument that will lead to progressives never winning. And so I'm not going to make that argument. I think it's a bad one. Jesus Christ asks, have you ever watched a video or stream of Vaush on YouTube? If yes, any thoughts on him? I haven't. And I don't know what kind of content Vaush makes, but if it's political stuff, it was weird. Yesterday, people asked me if I know a bad enchilada. And I was like, no, I don't know bad enchilada or empanada. And then someone went on my subreddit and said, David, why are you pretending that you don't know who they are? And it's like, I have no clue who they are. I don't watch any political stuff. And there's a whole conversation happening on my subreddit, which I bailed out. Like, I don't engage back and forth. I just went in and said, why would I deny knowing who someone is? I don't watch any political stuff. People later told me they did a video about you. Dozens of videos show up constantly of people doing critiques of what I can't respond to them. I don't have time. It's like I'm doing 3 hours of prep, 2 hours of filming, phone calls, doing live streams. It's like I just don't watch political stuff. When I'm done, I'm watching other stuff. I'm watching chess videos. I'm watching, live concerts and whatever. But that has nothing to do with Vaush. But if Vaush is political, in fact, when I browse YouTube personally, it's getting a little warm. I'm going to take the scarf off. When I browse YouTube personally, I use a different account than like the show channel account. And because I never watch political stuff, I am never recommended political stuff. I'm recommended things that match, my search interests. So I just am not even coming across a lot of this material. Marco says, love your channel. Keep it up. Proud of you. Thanks, Marco. Appreciate it. Ello says, thank you for thinking through the issues logically. Thank you for supporting the show. Andrew Morgan says, JPL is a slot for old Republican money. What's JPL? Do you mean JLP, Jesse Lee Peterson? Timothy says, Data Wombat. Garrett Campbell says, David, do you listen to animals as leaders? I don't. If not, you must check them out, especially Matt Gartzka's drumming. Unreal. I will do that. Thanks to Philip Nyman and Claudia Cornejo, who have grabbed YouTube memberships. Very, very much appreciate that. I want to say a very special thank you to Tanya Nold, who is new member number 42 today at joinpacman.com. Look at that, my friends. Look at that go. 50, of course, being the goal. DJ Chaos says Meinl are the best symbols. Meinl makes good stuff. I am a big fan of, I have like an old Zildjian dry ride, and it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I also like Sabian cymbals. Matthew Vicendeze says, put the beanie back on, Paranoid Android, 2823 on Rogan, Bad Empanada is great. His critique of you was about how wrong you were on Bolivia. Jesus, it feels like was Bolivia like 8 months ago? George Bush says, Vaush or Viosh, definitely someone worth having on the show. All right, maybe. The team will research. And it will be an amazing, amazing thing. Okay, let's get an update about, people are asking where the hair gifts are. Here they are. I'll paste the link in the chat again. I'm pasting it right now on Twitch and then pasting it right now on YouTube. We've got a bunch of these GIFs from yesterday's stream, which I'm inviting you to turn into memes, do photoshopping, whatever people want to do. I think that there's a lot of material there potentially that could be worked on. If you're just joining us on YouTube, I have a teeny tiny request for you. Please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. These are small requests. They're free. They really help our stream very, very much. So make sure that you like and subscribe. Moylarby says, how can progressive push policies on Biden now? Well, I actually think it would have been better for Bernie Sanders to either have gotten out 3 weeks ago or 3 weeks from now. I think Bernie gets the least spendable political capital by getting out literally 2 days from the peak of a global 100-year pandemic. So I would have liked to see the timing of it be either earlier or later. And that might have better positioned Bernie to get some kind of immediate concessions or something from Joseph R. Biden Jr. I don't know that we're going to get much anytime soon. Dr. Fauci is here. Mike Pompeo is here. Dr. Birx is here. Dr. Redfield is here from the CDC. And we will soon see Donald Trump. Just a reminder, I'm stepping away to some phone calls as soon as they get started. I will just be blacked out. And then I'll come back in time for the doctors, hopefully speaking, and for nasty questions from reporters. But I will be stepping away just momentarily. Let me say thank you to Anna Burgos, who is new member number 43 today at joinpacman.com. Thanks, Anna. Very much appreciate it. Philip Angst points out that Nevada has been corrected. Yes, it has. Incorrectly, it was announced that Nevada had 22,000 new cases today. They don't. And that has been corrected. Tager Ian says, V'osh talks about rhetoric and optics on the left. Okay. Is Pompeo being pulled out? Is he being pulled off the stage? Pompeo sort of slowly going over to the door. I guess he was told to stand there. Is that Pompeo? I believe it is. Yeah. Something weird's going on here, guys. I'm not going to lie. There's just a weird vibe behind today's briefing. And there is Donald Trump, followed by Mike Pence, Dr. Birx standing, a lot of other people not standing, which is interesting. Now Dr. Redfield standing.
Thank you. This is a holy week when religious believers across the nation will observe Passover, Good Friday, and Easter. Millions of Jewish families begin Passover at sundown tonight, a sacred, unbroken tradition that traces back to the ancient land of Egypt. And on Sunday, we celebrate our beautiful, wonderful Easter, which we all look forward to.
Okay, I'll be back with you guys.
And we're going to have many Easters together in churches in the future. We're getting closer. You see the numbers. We're getting much closer to getting our country back to the way it was. We have now an extra 2 countries that have been attacked, 184. They're being attacked as we speak, but we'll all win. At some point, we're going to all win. We're going to do it sooner than people think. Earlier today, I spoke with 10,000 of America's faith leaders to thank them for raising the spirits of our people during these very difficult days. Well, we may be physically apart. We can use this time to pray, to reflect, and to focus on our personal relationship with God. I also spoke with more than 3,000 mayors, county commissioners, and state and tribal leaders to provide an update on our administration's ongoing drive to beat the virus, to crush the virus, and that's happening. It's happening, I think, if you look a little bit more quickly than people thought, maybe a lot more quickly, I hope. And it's something that all over the world we're watching, but people are watching us and seeing what we're doing, and they're very impressed. We're dealing with many countries right now, many countries, and we're giving them whatever information we're able to glean. I just spoke with the representatives of the UK, and I think that their great prime minister is doing much better today, or at least better. But certainly he's had a tough bout, and he's still going through a tough time, but he seems to be doing better, and that's good. And We send our regards to Boris and his family and his friends, all of the people that really love him. He's become a very popular, before this happened, became a very popular prime minister. He's doing an excellent job. He loves their country. He loves our country. So we appreciate everything he's done, and hopefully he's going to be okay. Speaking of great people and people that have done a fantastic job, I have Secretary of State Mike Pompeo with us, and I'd like to ask Mike to say a few words, and then I think what we'll do, in order to get him back to the State Department, we'll take some questions, and we'll then go on with the rest of what I'm going to say. Then we'll take some questions after that, and then Vice President Pence will take over. So, Mike Pompeo, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Under the President's leadership, my team and I at the State Department are doing our part to protect the American people from the virus, and importantly, to get them home. As you know, when many countries shut down their rail lines, their buses, their infrastructure systems, the capacity to get out of those countries, they were trapped, they were stranded. The State Department swung into action. Since January 29th, we have now repatriated over 50,000 United States citizens back to their homes. From more than 90 countries, more than 490 flights back to the United States from all across the world. This worldwide scale of our repatriation efforts is without parallel in our lifetime. We are coordinating with foreign governments, militaries, airport authorities, medical units, transportation companies, hotels, you name it. We're working with them to make sure the American people get back to be with their families. You can see behind me the map of the flights that we have brought back people from all across the world. Every day I get a chance to hear some of the remarkable stories from our team. Let me give you just a couple of examples. Our mission in Peru, working with the Peruvian military and police forces to send riverboats up the river to get citizens that were stranded deep inside the Amazon forest. Our mission in Nepal made sure that a woman who was running low on medication could get what she needed at a pharmacy before boarding an evacuation flight that brought her back here. In Honduras, after the government imposed very strict 24/7 curfew and closed airports, our embassy sprang into action for stranded Americans, thousands of them. A 3-year-old boy told one of our consular officers just before he boarded the flight, "Thank you for helping me get back home to my dad." Pretty neat. We've received similar messages from lots of people. They're proud to know that their country will not leave them stranded and we're going to get them back home. One woman wrote, quote, "I was in tears when I received the email approving our flight back to the United States. God bless the United States of America." And another said, "I felt like I had allies there that actually treated me like a person or a family member, not just a number." The Repatriation Task Force, State Department, our consular officers have done great work. I want to thank our partners in the Department of Defense who have helped with some of these flights back home, and other government agencies, our sisters and brothers across the United States government and this administration that have helped get these people back. And then lastly, aside from our repatriation efforts, we continue to help countries around the world as well. We've got CDC officials helping these countries with expertise and all the things that these countries need to get their citizens safe and healthy and back so that we can get the economy all across the world, the global economy, back on its feet when this crisis is over. Thank you, Mr. President.
Good, thanks, Mike. Maybe you stick for a little while.
Sure.
And we'll see if anybody has any questions for Secretary of State. Anybody, please?
Mr. Secretary, that's an amazing effort that you have made. How do you know when you're done? Because I imagine there are Americans on all corners of the world, and someone's going to pop up and say, "I want to go home now."
It's
when
a great,
do you give the old
yeah.
call that
So
it's
it's a great question. We still have several thousand people that we're working. They identify themselves every day. New people find themselves in a difficult place. Look, we're going to be done when people can travel on their own again. These people traveled abroad on vacations or with their church, and we're intending to get back on their own. We hope that day comes pretty soon where they don't have to rely on the State Department to get them back home. But know this, in the meantime, we're devoting all the resources we have to get them. They're often in difficult places. They're not in the capital near the airport, or the roads are closed. And so it's not just a matter of getting a flight down there. There's a lot of work that has to be done to coordinate, to make it all happen and get those people available so they're sitting there when the flight lands, they can get on the plane, and then we can get them back home. We still have several thousand. We're working on it. We chip away at that number every day. But new citizens go to the State Department website, identify themselves, and say, "I need a little bit of help in some way," and we do our best to get that to them just as quickly as we can.
You'll keep it up indefinitely.
We're going to keep it up as long as we have resources to do it, and there is a need. Yes, sir.
Mr. Secretary, how many of these staffers have tested positive for coronavirus? Have they been tested, or are they going into quarantine? And what does this do to diplomatic efforts overseas? If you're pulling 50,000 people out of national capitals, nation capitals all over the world.
So the vast majority of these 50,000 weren't our officers. These were ordinary citizens who were there traveling for business or for commercial or for their trip of a lifetime. We've seen some of that in the cruise ships, but of course they're stranded all over the world. So our embassies, save for the one that is in Wuhan, which we did pull everybody out of, the rest of our facilities around the world are all open. We've had a handful of our folks now test positive. But we feel like we have a good handle on it, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that not just the State Department officials, but our Department of Defense colleagues that are working on these missions as well are doing so in a way that reduces risk to them and their well-being also. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Do you feel like China withheld critical information from the United States, and will there be any consequences for that?
You know, this is not the time for retribution, but it is still the time for clarity and transparency. We're still working on this problem set. There's still data that these good people need so that they can perform their analysis of how to both develop therapeutics and a vaccine and to understand where this virus is. So every country, China included, every country needs to be transparent about what's gone on in their country. They need to share that data. We share ours with the world so that the best scientists in the world can get to the right conclusions and bring this economy, this global economy, back to the place that we all want it to be as quickly as we can. Every country has that responsibility. It started in China, and so they had that special responsibility to get it right quickly and fast. Ask every country as we move forward in the days and weeks ahead, make sure we share that. Do it right, do it well. When we do, we'll get this thing back going.
Early on, should they have shared their data sooner with the United States?
Every country has an obligation to share that information accurately, timely, completely, transparently, and thoroughly, just as quickly as they can gather it. We'll leave for another time to evaluate how everyone did in that.
Go ahead, Thank you, President Trump. And Secretary, I have a question. The World Health Organization has a fundraising drive for about $700 million for coronavirus resources. China has only donated $20 million. The United States actually has donated less. So do you feel that China should be giving more to this World Health Organization effort? And could you comment on the U.S. donation?
You want to say something, Mr. President?
Well, you could just say we held.
At this point, we're reevaluating our funding with respect to the World Health Organization. Now, this is very consistent with what President Trump said since the beginning of his campaign. Organizations have to work. They have to deliver the outcomes for which they were intended. And we need to make sure that not only the World Health Organization, but every international organization, that we take taxpayer money and give it to them for the benefit of America. We need to make sure it's delivering on those taxpayer dollars. The World Health Organization is no different in that respect. They have to execute on the mission that they are designed to achieve. And we've seen, with respect to the World Health Organization, here we are. It hasn't accomplished what it was intended to deliver.
Thank you, President. And Mr. Secretary, you said a handful of staffers have tested positive. Are they going to get the hydroxychloroquine treatment? Is that going to be made available to personnel overseas?
I don't know the answer to that. But know that we'll deliver the best medical care every place we can. Some of them are in difficult places where there's not a lot of medical help. We've done our best to move that medical assistance forward to them in the field.
Jeff?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Secretary, right here, can you give us an update on the numbers you're seeing about coronavirus cases in Iran, and whether or not you have any updates on the United States helping them with that?
So with respect to our assistance to Iran, we've offered from the first day we knew that the virus had struck the people of Iran, we offered humanitarian assistance. I regret that they chose not to take that. I've heard people talking about sanctions. The world should know there are no sanctions that prevent humanitarian assistance, medical supplies, pharmaceuticals from going to Iran. We offered American assistance. We've tried to help other countries get assistance in there as well. We've had some ability to do that. I don't have any better data than what you've seen publicly than I could share with you with respect to the extent of the virus inside of Iran.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Are you allowing exports of medical supplies at this time, or what's the status of that?
So you've seen, we're making sure that we have what we need for the American people, whether that's gloves. I'll let the Vice President talk to numbers on that. But at this point, what we are doing in terms of assistance is providing what most of these countries need. to learn how to do surveillance themselves, to learn how to conduct tests themselves, to learn the things that can reduce the peak in their countries. Those are the kind of things. And we've been doing this, you should know. The United States has been incredibly generous. We have CDC officials like no other country in the world out helping these nations build out their healthcare, global epidemic healthcare infrastructure. It's good people like that you see sitting to my right that have been working on this all their life, all around the world, putting these countries in a place where they're better prepared for a virus like this one.
Have any U.S. diplomats or U.S. officials contracted the virus as they've tried to rescue U.S. citizens abroad?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of, but there's no doubt. I remember when we sent our team to get our officials and about 800 American citizens, non-government citizens that were living in Wuhan. I remember when we sent one of our first repatriation flights in there, we were very careful. We sent trained professionals in, but they were going into a very, very difficult, very fraught place. We were blessed. They all got back with no one having contracted the virus on that trip. I'm not aware of any of our officials that have had the virus attack them while they were performing their functions, trying to get people back. And we have a number of State Department officials who have COVID-19 now and are working their way through. In fact, we've had 3 fatalities of local employees, not U.S. direct hires, but local people who were working for the State Department and embassies around the world. We've had 3 fatalities so far.
So there have been some calls on the World Health Organization for a leadership change there. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that. Senator Martha McSally, for example, has called for Dr. Tedros to resign.
I don't want to look. This is not the time to be doing that kind of change. There'll be a lot of time to look back and see how the World Health Organization performed. In the meantime, what our task is to preserve and protect the American taxpayers, to make sure that our resources don't go to places that aren't going to deliver on behalf of the American people in the world. And President Trump and I are determined to do that.
Okay.
Just a quick follow-up.
Let's save it. Can we save it?
Just a quick follow-up, sir, if I may, on China. You said that China has a responsibility to get correct figures. How would you broadly characterize cooperation with China right now?
There's lots of places we've been cooperating, right? They're providing us assistance where we need it. There are places on the ground now where we do have access to the data we need, and we're deeply appreciative of that. They've said they want to cooperate. We're completely prepared to cooperate with them. That cooperation means sharing data, being transparent, being upfront, allowing information to flow freely. That's our expectation, not just of China, though, of every country that is in this place today. We collectively, we have to work our way through this, and to do that, you have to have really good data.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, thank you very much. Just a few days, we've delivered nearly 11 million N95 masks to hotspots around the country, as you know, including 6.6 million to New York and New Jersey, 1.8 million to Chicago, 1.7 million to Detroit, and 837,000 to New Orleans. I spoke with the governor of Louisiana a little while ago, and they're doing really pretty well, much better than they thought. They'll be using fewer beds. As you know, we built a hospital. We're about set to complete another hospital, and there's even a possibility they won't need it. That's what we discussed. To date, we've shipped out more than 8,000 ventilators, and we have almost 10,000 sitting there ready to go should we need them, and an additional 2,200 newly manufactured ventilators come online on Monday. We're going to be sending them to various locations just in case they need them. My administration's working with Philips to double their production of ventilators by May and ultimately quadruple production by later this year, high-quality ventilators. We're eliminating bureaucratic barriers to pave the way for Philips' major investments in American manufacturing sites and sales. This will help to ensure that our country can permanently produce enough ventilators in the future that we can do them by ourselves. We're going to have a big stockpile when we're finished, and we expect to be sending quite a few to other countries to help them after we're finished. And even now, a couple of countries are really, really in dire need, and it looks like our projections were right on ventilators. And some states that were thinking they would need thousands of more than they thought are now already taken care of. which we're very happy about. In addition, beginning in May, we'll be receiving almost 300 million new face masks. We're going to have masks of about 300 million. They'll be starting to be delivered in May and during the month of June. So we're ordering a big stockpile, and we're thinking about doing an extra 200 million should we need them, or for the stockpile. So we'll be in a position to have something incredible. So that'll be a total of 500 million masks. And today, 750,000 new protective gowns landed in Dallas, Texas, as a result of a partnership led by the federal government, DuPont, and FedEx. And that's been a great partnership that's worked very well. So we have 750,000 new protective gowns, and these are at a high level, very high quality. As American industry steps up to help, so are America's doctors and scientists. 10 drugs are now in clinical trials, and my administration is taking unprecedented actions to make new therapies and treatments available without delay. The doctors, the lab technicians, the companies, I spoke to them yesterday, I spoke again today. They are coming up with things that are, I hope, in the very near future are going to be very, very special, very important. Our national stockpile is now equipped with nearly 30 million hydroxychloroquine pills. So we're up to about 30 million. We're distributing by the millions. You read about State Representative Karen Whitsett, who I very much appreciate her going public, but she was, I think, very, very much helped by this pill. She saw what I was saying on television. She thought she was in very bad shape. I don't want to go further than that, but you see her story, you know her story. She's a highly respected state rep from Michigan, and I think she did a great service, what she's done. She's in terrific shape. She looks fantastic, and she was very generous with her statements. In addition, the zithromycin and zinc, they say zinc. You should add zinc. Now, it's all has to be recommended by doctors, physicians, but they say zinc. I want to throw that out there because that's where they seem to be having the best result. So you add the zinc and the zithromycin, and it's been, we've had a lot of good stories, and we have almost 30 million doses, so we've got a lot. I want to thank Prime Minister Modi of India for allowing us to have what we requested from before the problem arose, and he was terrific. We'll remember it. Later today, the CDC will release further guidance to help ensure critical infrastructure workers can perform their jobs safely after potential exposure to the virus, and so they're working on that. The question was asked a little while ago about the World Health Organization, and as you know, they made a statement on January 14th, I guess it was, that there was no human-to-human transmission. Well, there was. They probably made that statement in the second or third week of December in addition, but they made it very powerfully on January 14th. And they criticized me very strongly when I said that we're going to shut down flights coming in from China, and especially from certain parts of China, but from China generally. We were criticized very badly. So last year, and for many years, hundreds of millions of dollars has been paid to the World Health Organization, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. And last year was $452 million, and China paid $42 million. Before that, it was $500 million, and China paid less than $40 million. And before that, it was similar numbers in the 400s, 300s, and sometimes even in the 500s of millions of dollars. And China would do proportionally just a small fraction of that number. And I think they have to get their priorities right. And their priorities are that everybody has to be treated properly, every country. And it doesn't seem that way, does it? It doesn't seem that way. So we're going to do study, investigation, and we're going to make a determination as to what we're doing. In the meantime, we're holding back. We want to say very unfair. So the United States, $452 million compared to $42 million. That's to the World Health Organization. That's not good. That's not good. Not fair. Not fair at all. And other countries, as you know, also gave very substantially less than the United States. And the World WHO, World Health, got it wrong. I mean, they got it very wrong. In many ways, they were wrong. They also minimized the threat very strongly, and not good. I want to take this opportunity to express the thanks of an extremely grateful nation to the Americans who go to work every day, especially in these critical industries in the midst of the pandemic, to care for and protect and feed American people, including medical personnel, law enforcement, first responders, food suppliers, sanitation workers. And somebody mentioned today, would you please specifically call out cashiers and clerks at grocery stores who are in danger during the pandemic, during the epidemic. They're in danger. They're really in great danger. And they've been incredible, and I want to call them out. To cashiers and clerks. We grew up with cashiers and clerks and grocery stores, and they've been great, and they've really been true American heroes. So I want to call them out because they're working hard, and they're working in conditions that aren't ideal, but soon they'll be ideal again. As we mourn the terrible loss of life for this and from this grave pandemic, we're seeing signs that our aggressive strategy to slow the spread is working. The number of new cases is stabilizing. The number of beds necessary in so many locations. I was watching this morning New York. I was watching Louisiana. You see what's going on. The numbers are changing, and they're changing rapidly, and soon we'll be over that curve. We'll be over that top, and we'll be headed in the right direction. I feel strongly about that. Some terrible days ahead, but we're going to have some wonderful days ahead. And we're going to get this behind us, this terrible thing behind us. Some people will never be able to forget if they had a loved one, if they had a great friend or a friend. But we're going to get it behind us. This is a tribute to the discipline and the devotion of the American people, what we've accomplished. If every American continues to strictly adhere to social distancing guidelines, we can defeat the invisible enemy and save countless lives, so we can do it much more quickly. We're hopefully heading toward a final stretch, the light at the end of the tunnel, as I was saying. As we continue to wage all-out medical war to defeat the virus, we're also fighting an economic war to ensure we can quickly turn to full financial strength. We have to get our country back. We have to get going. Everybody wants to get going. Yesterday, I asked Congress to provide an additional $250 billion to expand the incredibly successful Paycheck Protection Program. You've seen what's gone on there. It's incredible, actually, which is allowing our small businesses to keep employees on the payroll and get ready for the opening. Like a second opening to protect millions of American jobs. I'm asking Congress to pass additional funding for this program this week as soon as possible. And I think we have pretty good understanding with the Democrats. Hopefully it's going to be bipartisan. We do not have time for the partisan games, and we don't want that, the obstruction or totally unrelated agendas. We want to do this for the small businesses and the workers. And we can do a phase 4, and a phase 4 will be later. This will be an expansion of what we've already done because it's so successful. The $350 billion will be expanded by hopefully $250. And if you look at the kind of loans, thousands, tens of thousands of loans to small businesses, it's a great thing to see. It's turned out to be more successful and more productive than anybody would have thought. But Democrats and Republicans are coming together to get that job done. That's a very important job. In recent days and days ahead, will restore America's health and economic might, but also dimensions of our national strength will be brought together, I think we have a chance to be stronger than ever before. We've learned a lot. And we have tremendous stimulus now, tremendous stimulus, and we're going for more. Hopefully we'll be doing an infrastructure bill so we can rebuild our roads and highways and bridges and tunnels and all of the things that we should be doing for our country. We're going to rebuild our country, not other countries where they don't even appreciate it. As our citizens persevere through this present challenge, we're renewing American unity, and we're replenishing American will, and we are witnessing new American valor each and every day. We see it every day. The daring and determination of our people in this crisis reminds us that no matter how hard it gets, no matter what obstacles we must overcome, Americans will keep on fighting to victory, and we will secure the glorious future that our citizens so richly deserve, especially after going through this nightmare, this evil beast. So we're getting very close, and hopefully it will, hopefully it's on the other side and it will end soon. And I think it will. And I just think that the people of this country are fantastic. So we'll take a few questions and then Vice President will take over. Please, go ahead, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. ABC is reporting that your intelligence committee was warning about the virus as early as November and produced a detailed report about the outbreak in China. When did you first learn about the intelligence, and could you have acted on it then?
Well, I learned when I learned about the gravity of it was sometime just prior to closing the country to China. And when we closed up the flights coming in from China and various other elements, and then, as you know, we closed up to Europe. So I don't know exactly, but I'd like to see the information. Yeah, please, please.
President, a lot of Americans want to see businesses reopen, to get back to
so do
work.
I, more than anybody.
So what specifically has to happen for you to feel that it is safe to reopen the country, and what is your plan to do that?
Well, I think we can say that we have to be on that downside of that slope and heading to a very strong direction that this thing is gone. Now, we can do it in phases. We can go to some areas, which you know, some areas are much less affected than others. But it would be nice to be able to open with a big bang and open up our country, or certainly most of our country, and I think we're going to do that soon. You look at what's happening. I would say we're ahead of schedule. Now, you hate to say it too loudly because all of a sudden things don't happen. But I think we will be sooner rather than later. But we'll be sitting down with the professionals. We'll be sitting down with many different people and making a determination. And those meetings will start taking place fairly soon.
So you wouldn't do that until the health experts tell you it's safe to do it?
Yeah, I would rely very heavily on them, yeah.
Do you think, is there a system for monitoring and testing that you're looking at?
Yeah, we're putting in very heavy testing systems. We have the best testing systems. When we look at cases,
Just want to get off the
I'm
Fox
not going to
stream.
insult anybody. I'm not going to insult any country, but I'm looking at countries that are showing less cases than us. That's testing. We're testing more than anybody, and you saw exponentially more than anybody by far.
That's a lie per capita.
And our testing's become, I think it'll end up being a big strength. In fact, the other countries that the media talked about are now calling us for what are we doing and how are we doing it so quickly, and
that can't be true.
Where are we getting these tests? Because our tests are really good now. They've been proven to be very accurate. Yes, please.
Thank you, President Trump. Two quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
One on infrastructure. Members of your administration and members of Congress have pointed out that the top paid federal employee, it's not the president, it's the head of the Tennessee Valley Authority, and he made $8 million last year. And
It's ridiculous. I agree. It's ridiculous. I think it's the highest paid government. Long before I got here, you said Tennessee Valley Authority, right? Has to be the highest paid man in any government. Makes approximately $8 or $9 million. I don't know the gentleman, but he's got a heck of a job. He gets paid a lot of money.
What's
He's
this
been there for a
about?
long while, hasn't he?
This one actually is new, came in April, but the previous
Well,
one
that's a
was-
separate. Yeah, that's separate. But I'm talking about the
separate.
We just have some new people going on the board. I know, but as you know, that's a quasi-public agency, and whoever the head of the agency is, that person makes a lot of money.
If I could ask my second question.
Which is an amazing thing, right? And when we want them to do something, they're not there for us.
Let me switch once more. Oh, here we can see the
Separate,
people
yeah,
asking
that's
the
separate.
questions.
But I'm talking about we just have some new people going on the board, I know. But as you know, that's a quasi-public agency, and whoever the head of the agency is, that person makes a lot of money.
If I could ask my second question.
Which is an amazing thing, right? And when we want them to do something, they're not there for us. That's not good. That's not good.
The second
They've been there
question,
for a long time. That's been a story for a long time.
They've been there since April.
I assume that you would support reducing that salary as part of the infrastructure bill.
Yeah, reducing it by a lot.
My other question
That'd
is,
be the greatest job in the history of government, almost. Certainly, if you're into money. Tennessee Valley Authority. That's right. Go ahead.
so
I've been waiting for somebody to ask me about that. It's been bothering me for a long time too. Go ahead.
One of the biggest rating hits of the coronavirus, aside from these briefings, has been a show on Netflix called Tiger King.
Yeah.
And the man who's the star of this is a former zoo owner who's serving a 22-year prison sentence. He's asking you for a pardon, saying he was unfairly convicted.
Oh, God.
Your son yesterday jokingly said that he was going to advocate for it, and I was wondering if you've seen the show and if you have any thoughts on pardoning Joe Exotic.
Which son? It must be Don. I had a feeling it was Don. Is that what he said?
Oh, boy.
I don't know. I know nothing about it. He has 22 years for what? What did he do?
He allegedly hired someone to murder an animal rights activist,
Not
but he said
alleged,
that
he's
he didn't do
convicted.
that, and he was.
Do you think he didn't do it? Are you on his side?
Well, I'm
Are
a
you
reporter. I shouldn't take
recommending a
sides.
pardon?
No, I'm not advocating
As a
anything.
reporter, you're not allowed to do that. You'd be criticized by these. Would you recommend a pardon?
Oh, God.
I'm not weighing in on Tiger
I don't
King.
think you would. I don't think you would. Go ahead. You have a question? I'll take a look. Is that
Oh, my
Joe
God. He's
Exotic?
going to look
That's
at
Joe
it now.
Exotic.
Can you imagine?
Let me get back to
Go ahead.
the coronavirus, if I can, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Last week, your top experts were saying that we should expect 100,000 to 240,000 deaths in this country. You've been talking about how it looks like maybe things are plateauing. Are these numbers now being revised downward? I know you don't want people to stop social distancing and that sort of thing, but what can you tell us about the numbers? Are they being revised?
My impression, Jim, is those were the numbers that were set, and they were set as an expectation from quite a while ago. I think we're just doing much better than those numbers. If either of you would like to talk about that, it's a fair question.
There's
Wanna
the
come
idea
up,
floating
Devin?
around that they set randomly high numbers so that then Trump could just claim that he won with lower
Yeah,
numbers.
so I think many of you have done the analysis of the same models that we utilized. And if you do the models of the models, you end up with that range. At the same time, we carefully looked at Italy and Spain, and we are doing much better in many cases than several other countries. And we're trying to understand that. We believe that our healthcare delivery system in the United States is quite extraordinary. I know many of you are watching the Act Now model and the IHME model and they have consistently decreased the mortality from over almost 90,000 or 86,000 down to 81,000 and now down to 61,000. That is modeled on what America is doing. That's what's happening.
Right.
And I think what has been so remarkable, I think, to those of us who have been in the science fields for so long is how important behavioral change is, and how amazing Americans are in adapting to and following through on these behavioral changes. And that's what's changing the rate of new cases, and that's what will change the mortality going forward, because now we're into the time period of full mitigation that should be reflected within the coming weeks of decreasing mortality. I mean, that's what we really hope to see.
Right.
We are impressed by the American people. And I think models are models. I've always worked on validating. I spent my life validating models all over the world, and that's why we do surveys and surveillance, and we make sure that what we think is right is right. I think this will change how people look at respiratory diseases, because it will change what is possible when the globe, and particularly the American people, do this level of mitigation.
She's acting
And I
like we
think,
won.
As I talked about yesterday, we are still in awe, really, of the American people's strength in this and following through.
If I could just ask Mr. President.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to ask Bob to come up just for a second. Director, I think that's it. They have done, everybody has done, everybody a great job. So those were original projections, and we don't want to say anything about beating it yet, but I think we will have a very good chance to beat them very substantially. Bob, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to add to what Ambassador Burke said. I mean, this is a consequence of the commitment of the American people. You know, a lot of us have always had challenges changing behavior. whether if it's exercising regularly or different habits with smoking, when it affects us. What's been remarkable to watch here is how the American public has changed their behavior when it protects the vulnerable. I think that's really what I'm so proud to see.
Mr. President, just a follow-up on something from yesterday and a quick, just yes or no question. Yesterday, you said you had not seen Peter Navarro's memo on the coronavirus back in January, February 23rd. Were you ever briefed on those memos? Did you ever discuss those memos with anybody?
I don't remember that. I've now seen the memo. I saw it. It was, Peter sends a lot of memos. I didn't see the memo. As you know, World Health was saying that was not correct because at the time they called it wrong. But I didn't see the memo, but I acted as quickly as people were shocked that I acted so quickly, and everybody thought I was wrong because I did act so quickly, as you know.
That's a fabricated
with respect to closing
fantasy.
the borders, with respect
Fairy
not
tale.
only to China, but with Europe, I closed the borders.
March
and I think
12th.
that was very important.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't see the memo at the
March
time, but I have
12th.
seen it since. Yeah, please.
One other
Wait
quick
a minute,
question.
let me do a couple of others. We'll go back.
The head of the World Health Organization today warned against politicizing.
I agree with that.
And he said that consequence of this politicization could actually create more body bags. It's a pretty vivid image. I mean, what do you believe the consequences of the U.S. pulling out its funding of the WHO?
Well, I think when you say more body bags, I think we would have done, and he would have been much better serving the people that he's supposed to serve if they gave a correct analysis. I mean, everything was, I said, China-centric. Everything was going to be fine, no human to human, keep the borders open. He wanted me to keep the borders open. I closed the borders despite him, and that was a hard decision to make at the time. We were all together. We made a decision against the World Health Organization. So when he says politicizing, he's politicizing. That shouldn't be. But look, we spend $450 billion, $452 billion, almost $500 billion last year, hundreds of billions in previous years. And they got to do better than that.
Trump
they got
lost
to do
his
better.
train of
When you
thought
talk
there.
about politics, I can't believe he's talking about politics when look at the relationship they have to China. So China spends $42 million, we spend $450 million, and everything seems to be China's way. That's not right. It's not fair to us, and honestly, it's not fair to the world. Okay, question in the back? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's breaking news today and a couple of reports from a couple different outlets that Jared Kushner's team is seeking to create a national coronavirus database, a tracking system for patients who've been diagnosed. Now, his spokesperson said that that's not true.
Yeah, it's not. I have never heard about it. Doesn't sound like a bad idea, actually, but I have not heard about that.
Be okay with it if it
I don't know if I'd be okay. I have to see it, but it sounds very scientific, and it sounds like it could be good based on tracking.
Scientific.
But it
Is it
also has to do with
constitutional?
rights and lots of different constitutional questions. I have not heard that at all.
So some people are concerned it would be like the post 9/11 Patriot Act, that it ultimately led to
Who
the
are you with?
FISA abuse. Are you
Yeah,
concerned
Pfizer
about
abuse,
that?
of which I was the one abused, and a couple of other people, in all fairness. No, I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard it. I mean, I'll speak to them. I don't think so. They would have told me. I would have known about it. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Nevada delegation is unhappy because smaller casinos and businesses that make profit
In Nevada.
from gaming in Nevada found out they're not eligible for the CARES Act PPP money. Is this, and I talked to one member who said
You
gaming.
mean because of the number of employees?
Because of the number of employees.
And yet they're small businesses.
And they thought gaming would not be treated any differently than any other business with this. Was this
Well,
an
I could look
oversight?
at that. I could look. It's a great state, and I will take a look at that strongly.
Oh, yeah.
Are you
Very
talking
strong.
only the smaller casinos?
That's,
Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Fine. I don't mind that. Please. Yeah, we'll take a look. Yeah. We
It is
haven't
the
heard.
first
Nobody's
we've heard
told me
about
about it, but I'll look
Yep,
at it.
nobody told them.
It's a great state. They do a great job, so I'm going to look at it very
Right.
strongly. I understand what they mean. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Turning to the economy, what if you urge Americans to go back to work and they don't listen to you? Would you leave that up to the governors, to businesses, to citizens to decide when it's safe to stop social distancing?
Well, when you say they don't listen, I think they're going to listen. They want to go back. Everybody wants. They're going stir crazy. They've been in those houses and those apartments, and they've really been they've done a great job. Again, when you look, the question was just asked about, about how are we doing compared to projections. Those were just original projections. The big projection being 2.2 million people would die if we did nothing. That was another decision we made. Close it up. That was a big decision.
So this is a big thing Trump is now doing, saying, listen, the comparison is 2.2 million. That's if you do nothing. Like, there's not a leader on earth who would do nothing. Maybe the Brazil dude, but.
I guess 1.5 to 2.2 million people would die if we didn't close it up. That's a lot of people. So if we do a number that's tremendously smaller than that, now if we did close it up, the numbers got to 100 to 220 million people. So if we can stay substantially under the 100, which was the original projection, I think we all did a very good job. Even though it's a lot of people. Say it?
You think we'll be on track for that by May 1st?
Well, right now, we're doing well in terms of the numbers. I can't tell you in terms of the date.
Careful now.
We don't want to go down, and then we can start going up if we're not careful. So we have to be careful. As far as distancing, social distancing, and other things, certainly for a while, at some point that's going away. We'll be able to sit next to each other and everything like we have all our lives. This is a very unique thing. This has not happened anything like this of this magnitude since 1917, 1918. The great pandemic. That was something. But people want to sit next to each other at restaurants. They want to sit next to each other like normal at a football game, baseball game, basketball game, hockey game. No, we want to go back to life. Now, the first period of time, maybe we'll go a little bit slower, and maybe we'll be talking about distancing. But at some point, we expect to be back like it was before. And hopefully, it'll never happen. Hopefully, it will. If it does happen, it's going to be in 100 years from now. The last one, 1917. That's something. It's a long time ago, and that was a horrible thing. Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to get back to something you were saying yesterday about people going to Wisconsin and voting in the middle of this pandemic, really putting their lives on the line. And you said, well, if they do that, vote by mail, perhaps we'll have voter fraud in this country. I just wanted to ask you, voters in 5 states, Utah, Colorado, Hawaii, Washington, and Oregon, all vote by mail. Can you or the White House staff or your campaign provide any evidence to back up your claim that mail-in voting is rife with fraud, like the example you gave of people working in rooms filling out false ballots? You've been talking about voter fraud since the beginning of this administration.
Very fair.
And where's the evidence of it?
I think there's a lot of evidence, but we'll provide you with some. Okay, and there's evidence that's being compiled, just like it's being compiled in the state of California, where they settled with Judicial Watch, saying that 1 million people should not have
Judicial
been
Watch
voting.
is lunatic.
And you saw that? Wait, excuse me. Well, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, in California, in the great state of California, they settled, and we could have gone a lot further. Judicial Watch settled where they agreed that 1 million people should not have voted, where they were 115 years old and lots of things, and people were voting in their place. What I see, and every one of those states that you mentioned is a state that happens to be won by the Democrats. And if you have a position like me, where it's registered, you're here, and we're voting someplace where I'm not. I haven't left the White House in, I guess, months, other than to, ask a ship to, wave it goodbye to New York, which, by the way, is now going, as you know, being used for the purpose that we're talking about, which a lot of people wanted. Wait a minute.
He's not talking about. What are you talking about?
Well, it hasn't.
Isn't your concern
It certainly
really just
hasn't. But if you're a senior citizen and if you're somebody that needs it, I'm all for it. But they have to be very careful, because the things with bundling and all of the things that are happening with votes by mail,
Oh my God.
where thousands of votes are gathered. And I'm not going to say which party does it, but thousands of votes are gathered, and they come in and they're dumped in a location, and then all of a sudden you lose elections that you think you're going to win.
The election fraud happening with mail-in ballots is from Republicans.
And I'm not going to stand for it. Our voting system, first of all, we should have voter ID. When you vote, you should have voter ID. And if you send something in, you should be sure, as a state and as a country, you should be sure that that vote is meaningful and it's not just made fraudulently, because there's a lot of fraudulent voting going on in this country. This country should have voter ID. Okay, let's do another
Not the
one.
issue, didn't answer, total
Go,
liar.
please.
Incredible.
Mr. President,
Thank you,
currently the only way that we can track these millions of doses of hydroxychloroquine that are being distributed across the country
Yeah.
is through the eHealth data system.
Is that OAN?
How systematically is your task force watching the system?
Well, I think it's very systematic. Yeah, we're
Did she push her
distributing
way in
the
again?
hydroxy all through the country. It's being distributed in large
I
amounts.
wonder if the C-SPAN cameras don't cut to her because she's not even supposed to be in there.
29 million doses, then we went to 30 million doses, but we have it coming in all throughout the country, and much of it's being distributed. In fact, it'll start going down what we have in our stockpile. And again, it's had, I hope it works. Again, I'm not a doctor, as you possibly have found out. I'm not a doctor, but I'm a person with common sense. And we've had some very good results over the course, including a woman who just reported it 2 days ago. Yes.
Through the eHealth data system, are they?
I think no. We're looking to provide it in many different ways. In many ways, in certain instances, we've been asked. In the case of Michigan, we've been asked who the governor of Michigan would like to. I think she's become a big fan of it as a medication, as something that's going to help with this horrible virus. And we're delivering it to the governments of various states when they ask. So certain states are asking, certain governments are asking, and
How
we're delivering
delusional.
it directly to the government.
Wow.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We know many people around the world are paying close attention to this
Yes.
press conference. So
Yes.
on behalf of
Good. Where are you
foreign
from?
media,
Where are you from?
I'm from Taiwan.
Good.
Yes. On behalf of
Who are
Foreign
you
Media
with?
Group, I'd like to ask you 2 questions. First question is that the French President Macron called Iranian President Rouhani and say that Europe has started to ship the medical goods to Iran. Will you consider
Medical goods?
Yes.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. So will you
If
think?
they're sending medical goods to Iran,
Let him
it
ask
doesn't
the
bother
question.
me. No. Okay.
Yeah. So the other question is that the world also paying attention to the U.S. election. So we are also we know that Bernie Sanders has dropped out
I
today.
did see that today.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't really drop out. He didn't really. What about his delegates? I mean, he said he's going to
Delegates.
keep his delegates, and which is sort of interesting. He's going to keep his delegates, and he'd like to get more. Now, is he dropping out or not? That's not dropping out.
No,
when you
that's
keep your
common, actually.
delegates, and then you want more delegates before you get to the convention.
Well, he may win more.
It's a weird deal going on there. I don't know what's happening.
So what's
And I don't know why President Obama hasn't supported Joe Biden a long time ago.
Can
There's
anyone
something he
be
feels
allowed
is
to
wrong.
ask a
Why
full
isn't
question?
he'll come out? I'm sure he's got to come out at some point, because he certainly doesn't want to see me for 4 more years. We're not. We think a little bit differently.
No one with common sense.
You know
will.
what? I'll tell you. It does amaze me that President Obama hasn't supported Sleepy Joe. It just hasn't happened.
Ooh,
When's it
sort of a
going to
glitch
happen?
there.
When is it going to happen?
He's just
Why
waiting.
isn't he? He knows something that you don't know.
Obama's just staying out of it till the primary is officially over to not be divisive.
It'll be interesting. But with Bernie, I saw his standard fare today. I watched. And I hope that a lot of Bernie Sanders people, just like they did last time, we got a tremendous percentage of Bernie people. And I think they voted for me largely because of trade, because Bernie and I agree on trade. We agree that the United States has been ripped off
This is
by
Trump trying to poach Bernie voters. It's very clear he's going to be doing it.
I've done a lot about it, and I'm doing more about it. And we've made incredible trade deals, including USMCA, the deal with China, and then all of a sudden that gets disturbed by this virus situation. But China has to spend almost $250 billion on purchasing our products, $40 to $50 billion with our farmers. And the Bernie Sanders people are big believers on what I'm saying on trade, and I got a lot of them in the last election that surprised people, but it didn't surprise me. No, those are great people.
So
They're great people. But
Trump got a smaller percentage than the percentage that in 2008 flipped from Hillary to McCain.
the delegates, he's not giving up his delegates. He's keeping them, and he said he wants to get more of them. And I think he's doing it to negotiate, I assume, but I don't know. That's
Right.
That's a hard thing to do. Yeah, Jeff, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, OPEC is meeting with Russia tomorrow and some other countries to discuss oil prices.
Yeah.
Oil prices are at $23 a barrel.
Oh, that's good. Finally, somebody knows something when they ask a question.
What is your message to them ahead of their meeting tomorrow? Will the U.S. consider a coordinated cut of production here?
I don't think, look, we already cut. You know, we're like very market oriented. If you look at Texas and if you look at North Dakota and if you look at some of our states that do this very well, they've already cut way back. You know, they cut back automatically. But in the case of Russia, in the case of Saudi Arabia, they increased production at a time when you didn't need it, and then they got hit by the virus, which knocked out 40% of the market. And now they're flooded with oil. Look, I just say this. You have two countries that are getting hurt very badly. Russia's getting hurt. That's their primary source. And Saudi Arabia, that's definitely their primary source. And it doesn't make sense that they flooded the market for whatever reason they did that for themselves. It's an argument that they had. And I think they'll straighten it out. A lot of progress has been made over the last week.
Really making no sense.
And it'll be interesting to see what comes out of OPEC tomorrow. But OPEC, obviously, for many years, I used to think OPEC was very unfair. I hated OPEC. You want to know the truth? I hated it because it was a fix. But somewhere along the line, that broke down, and it went the opposite way. And we have a tremendously powerful energy industry in this country now, #1 in the world. And I don't want those jobs being lost. Okay?
What will you do, just one follow-up to that, sir, what will you do if they don't end up cutting
We'll
tomorrow?
see. I mean, I have a lot of options. Please. Got a lot of good options, Jeff. Beauties. I might like it even more. Now you'll watch. Let's see what happens. Hopefully they can make a deal. Let's go.
God.
Thank you, Mr. President. Clearly, Americans are getting very anxious to go back to work.
I
There's
agree.
something optimistic.
Including me.
Still very vague. Now that the IMHE model specifically has been adjusted down to 61,000,
IHME.
when are we going to open back up? Can you give us a better date? Is it going to be April 30th, May 1st?
You said adjusted back down 61,000. What was adjusted back down?
The IMHE model, the one that originally
IHME.
predicted like between 100 and
Yeah, go
200,000.
ahead. What's still a big number, right? 61, right? That's a big number. Go ahead.
It's like children
But-
talking.
Can you give us a more specific date? Will it be
Well, I don't
April
wanna do that.
30th,
Look,
May 1st?
I had a date, and I thought it was a very aspirational date. It's turning out to be very interesting because a lot of good things are happening by Easter. But I had a very aspirational
It's a miracle.
date. I didn't think you could make it. I didn't say we would do it by Easter, but I said, boy, wouldn't that be great to shoot for Easter? That would be a great day, beautiful day, very important day to a lot of people like me,
right,
and like some of you in the room. Maybe all of you in the room, frankly. But
Any Jews
Easter's
in
a
the
very
room to
important
whom
day.
it's
So
not
I had,
important?
aspirationally, I said, let's see if we can do it at Easter. You know, but I said it would be very tough. And I was criticized for that. So I don't like giving dates. And that wasn't a date. That was just an aspiration. That would have been incredible. But I don't think we're going to be very far behind. And some of these models are looking like Easter is going to be a very important date anyway because of the curve. I mean, it's hitting the top and it's starting to come down. And one person said Easter is looking like a good time.
Not quite
So
true yet
a good
at
time
all.
for that, for heading down.
Understand,
So-
you need like 6 weeks of it coming down to get back to a reasonable point where it wouldn't immediately reinfect. It's crazy.
That he said, Tony, they need far less beds than they need. I said, well, good, because we're
Fewer.
building 1,000-room additional. We built them 1,000 beds, and now we're building another 1,000. And I said, listen, is there a way that we don't build? I don't want to build them if they don't need them. In New York, the Javits isn't too heavily used. It's ready to go. 2,900 beds. Plus, we now have the ship set for COVID if they want to use it, and we're using it for Governor Murphy in New Jersey. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, the numbers are coming way down. The ventilators, we're all set. We have a lot to go if we want, but...
So understand, nothing's coming down yet. The rate of increase has slowed down. Trump doesn't get it. I mean, who cares? Just facts, right, guys?
Additional ventilators for some of the countries that are our allies and our friends. And even if they're not our allies and our friends, you're saving human lives. But I'd love to see if we had some, I mean, we're making a lot of ventilators right now. We have and they take a while to make, and they're very expensive, and they're very complex to make. But I'd love to be able to help other countries once we're taken care of. But I just sent 100 ventilators to Colorado, and that was great. A senator there who's a terrific senator, Cory
Shipping
Gardner.
clerk, Donald
And he called me last night. He said, could you get 100 ventilators for Colorado? And we just sent them out. and they'll be there very shortly. So, but it looks like we're in great shape from the bed standpoint. It looks like we're in great shape from the ventilator standpoint. And you just heard I ordered 500 million masks, 500 N95s and others, and surgical. But we ordered 500 million masks, 300 and 200, and they're going to be here very shortly. So we're really in great shape. And we started off with an empty cupboard. So I'm going to leave the vice president and his group to handle it, and I will see you probably tomorrow. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Investments in hydroxychloroquine?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, thank you. Good question.
That question was, do you have investments in hydroxychloroquine? He said no. He's got about $1,000.
You all can come up if you want. I'll be brief. Well, good evening, everyone, and to our fellow Americans out west, good afternoon. We find ourselves in the midst of a very tough week for Americans in areas most impacted by the coronavirus, the New York City area, New Jersey, Louisiana. Continue to focus resources and attention on those areas, and I know that the hearts and prayers of the American people are with all of those communities. But in the wake of more than 1.9 million tests, we see more than 400,000 Americans have tested positive for the coronavirus, and sadly, we've lost more than 14,000.
This guy's sick.
We grieve, but as the good book says, we do not grieve like those who have no hope.
Oh, God.
In this very special week, I know that the faith of millions of Americans is a comfort to them. The President and I spoke to more than 10,000 faith leaders, and we were able to express to them our gratitude for the way that they're strengthening the communities that they serve. But we also find hope in the numbers that Dr. Birx will continue to reflect on today.
Let her
As
talk.
Dr. Fauci explained yesterday and in the days before, the losses, as grievous as they are, that we are seeing today, are a reflection of people that contracted the coronavirus in many cases before strong mitigation steps were taken, before the guidelines for America fully took hold. The cases, however, and the new cases and the hospitalizations are in fact a reflection of the results of what the American people are doing. And I want to echo the President's and Dr. Birx's statements today about the extraordinary work the American people are doing, because we continue to see a great progress, low and steady numbers in the states of California and Washington. And in the New York metropolitan area, New Jersey, New Orleans metro area, Detroit, Chicago, and Boston, we continue to see evidence of stabilization that should be an encouragement to every American, an encouragement that we may be reaching the point where the impact of the coronavirus is beginning to level off. But it also should be an encouragement to every American to keep doing what we are all doing. Heed the guidance of your state and local authorities, and for every American, continue to put the White House coronavirus guidelines for America into effect. An area of particular concern we were briefed on this morning is the city of Philadelphia. I spoke today to Governor Tom Wolf, and as we begin to see early trend lines in Philadelphia, I assured him that we were going to continue to flow resources and support to that community, but our message to the people of the Philadelphia area is now more than ever, practice the social distancing so that Philadelphia and to some extent even Pittsburgh do not have to endure what other communities before them have had to endure. Also today, at the President's direction, we hosted a conference call with every Republican member of the House of Representatives and every Democrat member of the House of Representatives.
Every member, in other
And
words.
we express our appreciation to Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Leader Kevin McCarthy for convening these forums. We brought together key members of our task force team. The Secretary of the Treasury discussed the progress that we've made on paycheck protection. He reported to members of Congress that so far we're working with more than 3,600 lenders across the country, and we've dispersed more than $98 billion in forgivable loans. Now, these are loans that if small businesses accept this money and use it to keep people on their payroll over the next 2 months, they'll be completely forgiven. Treasury tonight will be issuing a new FAQ, Frequently Asked Questions document, that will also make it clear that lenders may use their own closing documents for completing loan applications. And that information is available at treasury.gov and sba.gov as well. Dr. Birx, Dr. Fauci briefed the members of Congress today on the latest data. They'll both reflect on that in a moment. We also had Admiral John Polovchek talk about our control tower system and the extraordinary flow of supplies to critical areas across the country. We also briefed on the disbursement of resources to local hospitals with Seema Verma and gave them an update on what the Secretary of State spoke about today. It's remarkable to think more than 50,000 Americans brought back home through nearly 500 flights. And we thank the members of Congress who have worked with the State Department to identify family members and groups that found themselves stranded overseas, and we were grateful for that. In addition to our interaction with members of Congress today, we spoke with the president of the Henry Ford Hospital, Bob Riney. It is the Henry Ford Hospital that is conducting a clinical trial for hydrochloroquine. He expressed great enthusiasm for the work that they had done. They had a rather overwhelming response to the initial trial, which is beginning this week with 3,000 people taking the hydrochloroquine or a placebo, so they can match it. But what the president of the Henry Ford Hospital told me is they'd like to expand the test. I put him in touch with Steve Hahn and the FDA, and we'll be adding several more.
You know, the thing is, like, there's already plenty of chloroquine trials going on. You know, the important stuff now is looking at other things. There's dozens of other things here in Boston. They're starting an Avigan trial with 3 hospitals. We're going to figure out the chloroquine thing. Doing more trials does not, you know, unless you're trying to get one that justifies continuing to promote it, which may be their priority.
Declarations. Vermont was the latest approved. And states have stood up some 27,000 National Guard that are aiding in coronavirus response. On the critical subject of ventilators, we do have currently more than 8,000 ventilators in our strategic national stockpile and distributed more to the Navajo Nation and to Colorado today. But also today we received the good news that the first delivery of newly manufactured ventilators from General Electric and Hamilton arrived at the Strategic National Stockpile. And as the president said, we'll be adding newly manufactured ventilators to our resources to be available as the coronavirus epidemic reaches critical communities around the country. On the subject of the air bridge, 4 flights scheduled to arrive today, primarily focused on gloves for our incredible healthcare workers. One flight alone had nearly 19 million gloves, another 8 million, another 15 million, and the like. And the American people, I think, would be very proud to see this vast array of now well more than 50 flights that are bringing in supplies from all over the world. And again, working through FEMA, we're directing those resources with the guidance of our scientific experts to the communities most in need.
Right.
As we announced yesterday, the White House Coronavirus Task Force has requested that CDC and our team assemble data on the unique impact that we're seeing reported on African Americans from the coronavirus. Dr. Fauci spoke about it yesterday, and we'll reflect on his perspective on that as well. Tomorrow, with the Surgeon General and others on the White House team, we'll be speaking with leaders in the African American community And as Dr. Fauci will reflect, there have been historic challenges in the healthcare of the African American communities, particularly in our inner cities. And now more than ever, I'll just say from my heart to all of our African American family members, now more than ever, practice the guidelines.
Right.
Look after those most vulnerable, people that have underlying serious health conditions. It's more important than ever that we all put those principles into practice. Finally, today, I'm going to have, after we hear from Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx, I'm going to ask Dr. Redfield to step up, because today the CDC will be publishing new guidance on essential critical workers who have been exposed to COVID-19 but don't have any symptoms, don't have a temperature, and don't have any reason to believe that they have
They're
the
going to start loosening
coronavirus.
that, I believe.
At the present moment, the guidance is that if you have been in proximity to someone who did test positive for the coronavirus, that the guidance of CDC is that even with essential critical workers in industries from healthcare to food supply, that we ask people to stay home for
Listen to
14
this.
days. The new guidance tonight will hopefully make it clear that there would be an opportunity for those people playing such an incredible role in our nation's response to be able to return to work and to do so safely.
So I'll just get, there's a document that has already leaked. So the idea is, if you've been in contact with someone who had it, but you've not had symptoms, and you are an essential worker, you'd be able to go back to work taking your temperature twice a day and wearing a mask or something along those lines. And it seems a little dicey, to be perfectly frank.
California and Washington State, and now beginning to see numbers of hospitalizations going down and new cases leveling, and in some cases going down. We all hope it is the beginning of a trend, but we also hope it's an encouragement to every American to keep doing what you're doing, not just for your own health, for the health of your loved ones, but because we want to make sure that all of us are doing our part to make sure that the fewest number of Americans possible are exposed to the coronavirus. And given the fact that this, I remind you, is 3 times more contagious than the flu, each of us has a role to play in slowing the spread. That's what the 30 days to slow the spread is all about. It's about protecting your health. It's about making sure that our healthcare workers and our healthcare system is not overwhelmed by the coronavirus, and ultimately it is about saving lives. We talk about the numbers, and I'm going to ask Dr. Birx to come up and reflect on them, but I think all of us know this is one American at a time.
Is he
It's one
crying?
heartbreak at a time.
Oh, no.
And having lost loved ones in my life, just like everyone here and everyone looking on, we want to work every day to make that number of losses the lowest possible. And it will take all of us to do it and to keep doing exactly what we're doing through today. Dr. Birx.
They should go
Mr.
right
Vice
to Birx and
President, I just want to start where the Vice President left off. I come out of the services, Army. We always talk about honoring the fallen, and I think for every American, what we can do now to honor the fallen that have fallen and given them really their deaths to this horrible disease, to the healthcare workers that are in the front lines trying to save every single one, to honor them, and to honor our elders and the individuals that we know are at the greatest risk for bad outcomes. We all need to continue to do our work. Yes, the number of cases have stabilizing or is stabilizing, but I do want to go through those numbers with you because we talk about these as micro epidemics in metro areas and in rural areas. So in the New York metro area, which includes obviously northern New Jersey, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, there are still 11,000 new cases per day, and their positivity rate on their testing is still in the 40% plus range. So there's still a significant amount of disease there, and everyone needs to continue to follow the guidelines. New Orleans metro area, 800 new cases per day, but a seropositivity rate on their testing of 28%. Detroit metro area, 1,400 cases per day, 26% positivity. Chicago, 1,200 cases per day, and 18%. Boston, 18% positivity, 1,100 cases per day. Denver has fallen to 180 cases per day, but still has 15% seropositivity in their testing. California and Washington have stayed stable at about Seattle, 350 cases per day. The LA metro area, 800 cases per day. But their test positive rates are remaining in the 9% range. And so this really gives us some idea of what it takes. They have been continuously mitigating. Imagine what we're talking about, New York going from 40+% seropositivity and 11,000 cases a day down to the LA metro area of 800 cases per day and 9%. So this is what, when the president talks about reaching the top and coming down, those are the kinds of things we need to see. And the only way we will see them is if every American continues to follow the guidance. Now, in the Philadelphia metro area, where I come from, it's 1,400 cases per day. This, of course, includes Camden, the counties around the Philadelphia metro, and Wilmington. And in the Baltimore and the Washington, D.C. area, 15% seropositivity and 500 cases per day and 200 cases per day in Baltimore. This is how we're looking at it, county by county, metro by metro, rural region by rural region, to make sure we don't miss anything. And we're triangulating testing data with the attack rates, with the hospitalization, with the number of cases, and really creating a mosaic of who needs what when to ensure that every American is served well. I had a great call today with a group of pediatricians, the head of the American Academy of Pediatrics, and with the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Behind the scenes and working every day are the pediatricians fielding those phone calls from every concerned mother, and of course grandmothers like myself, and protecting our children every day to ensure that they have access to the medical care that they need while this is happening. And to every pregnant woman out there, I was very reassured hearing from the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. They have put amazing things in place to protect every pregnant woman. They have been social distancing in their offices. They have increased all of the disinfecting. They have lengthened the time between clients. To every pregnant woman, don't miss your appointments. If your OB thinks you need to be there, you should go. And please know that on the labor and delivery wards, they are doing everything to protect you and their babies. They are committed to you. They are absolutely committed to you having a good experience. Make sure if your physician believes you should be in the hospital for your delivery, make sure you're following their guidance. We don't want any pregnant women to suffer a bad outcome during this time. So again, I just want to conclude by thanking the American people and recognizing the number of people we're losing per day is serious to all of us, and it could be so much worse. But our frontline healthcare providers and the way they're talking to each other about how to improve care for every individual that they serve, you see them on the TV, you see them in the emergency room, you see what they're up against. This is how we can honor them, is to make sure we continue to put, as Dr. Fauci always says, put your foot on the gas and make sure that we continue to strongly mitigate and really protect those with pre-existing conditions. And finally, those pre-existing conditions we know now include asthma. So asthma, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, any of these conditions, renal disease, no matter what age, please make sure you're following the guidelines to protect those individuals in your household. We know they're more susceptible to a worse outcome. We don't think that anyone's more susceptible to getting infected. I want to make sure that everyone understands everybody is susceptible to getting infected. This virus is very transmittable, as we well know. But we need to protect those that need our protection the most. So thank you all for what you're doing to get the message out to ensure that we continue to protect each other in this very difficult time.
Great. Dr. Fauci, please.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. And just to follow up and underscore what Dr. Birx has said, as I've said many times from this podium, the spectrum of going from infection to getting ill, to requiring hospitalization, to intensive care, to death. And what is the most striking thing that obviously is so sobering to us is when we see the number of deaths. We know now for sure that the mitigation that we have been doing is having a positive effect, but you don't see it until weeks later. Remember this past weekend when all of us got up in front of this podium and mentioned that this was going to be a really bad week. At the same time, we were saying that we would hope we would start to see a little bit of a change in the daily hospitalizations, intensive care, and intubations. And New York is starting to see that. So I say that, but I drop back a bit. Don't get complacent about that, because what's going to happen 2.5 weeks from now is really what's going to happen with regard to the people who are getting new infection. As Dr. Berg said, everybody is almost certainly as susceptible as anybody else to getting infected. It's what happens to you after you get infected. And again, to just keep emphasizing, we need to keep mitigating. We know that this is something that is a strain on the American public, but it's just something that we have, not only the only tool, it's the best tool. And to just shift a bit to what we said yesterday regarding the African American community, it is very painful to see, and I've seen it throughout my entire medical career, that the health disparities in the minority community, but particularly the African American community, puts them at risk, apart from coronavirus issues, puts them at risk for diseases much more so than the general population. The double whammy that you suffer now is when you have this terrible virus, which essentially preys in its ultimate deleterious effects on people with those underlying conditions. And since that is more predominant in the African American population, we want to double down and say to the young people, to the elderly people in that community, to please try as best as you can to protect yourself if you're a younger person, and to please protect the people who are susceptible. Your grandmother, your grandfather, your elder uncle, the people who have these underlying conditions. Because we are not going to solve the issues of health disparities this month or next month. This is something we should commit ourselves for years to do.
Yes.
But what we can do now, today, is to prevent people who are put at higher risk because of their demographic group from getting into a situation which is much, much more deleterious than the general population. So I plead with all of us in the population, but particularly for those of us, our brothers and sisters in the African American community, because we know that mitigation does work. The reason we know it works is the question that was asked about the numbers, that why they came down, or the projections. Because remember, what you do with data will always outstrip a model. You redo your models depending upon your data. And our data is telling us that mitigation is working. So again, as Dr. Berg said, keep your foot on the accelerator, because that's what's going to get us through this.
Dr. Redfield.
All right, guys, that does it for me. I've got to run. Appreciate everybody for joining me for the last 3 hours. We'll be back tomorrow. Show, bonus show, live stream, all of that stuff. It continues.